Big shout out to everybody out there. Big shout out to everybody out there. Y'all know what time it is. It's Talk Shit Tuesday. What up? What up? Appreciate everybody for showing up tonight. Big shout out to all my people out there on the back street. Don't forget to hit them like buttons. Don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Let me give my big shout outs to all my people out there in the Shark Tank. Big shout out to the Shark Tank. Big shout out to my man Melee in the house. My man Double M Desbo. What up, fam? Bite down. Shake that like button. Yes, sir. Big shout out to the incomparable Mr. William McNeil in the house. What up, fam? Big shout out to Mr. LaTorrance Barnes. Appreciate that, fam. He said, how frequent does the 9 milli Stone City Jeep Mayday line produce short order dogs? Well, I'm going to put it like this. The ones we had, they always produce short order dogs. I'm just putting that out there because... But then again, I based that based off of what we used to do, how we used to do it. So, good question there. But being that we had a lot of that Stone City, Jeep, 9 Millie was a finisher. Brat was a, even though she was off Mayday, but then you had people like, dogs like Buck Rogers, Nico Jr. Nico Jr. was a quick, fast finisher. Bebe was the finisher. Let's see. What are they? She was a finisher. These dogs didn't go. These dogs, pretty much everything was under 30 minutes. So, yeah, they produced a lot of them, but then they produced a lot of them that would go that time. So it all depends on who they was going into, I guess. I guess the dogs make, they set the tone. But pretty much we were always known to be in and out of there quick. So you got to have, I guess that was based on the confidence you had in what you was bringing. So a lot of that, I would always put on the owners of the dog because they the ones who, that's why this is a good conversation night because they all started as puppies at some point. So you knew what you was going to bring and how, you knew everything about the dog that you were showing. So I guess we just didn't deal with things. We had a more of a liking to this fast, hard mouth finishers. So I guess it's all about the preference. You never know how long you're gonna go, but then when you know you got something that's gonna be a short order, you're gonna tend to just ride with that and just, hope the other person got something to withstand this tornado that's fixing to come through there. Most of the time, what people thought they had, they really didn't have. Even some who did put in that work and went that distance, end up being out of there in short order. Sometimes some of these short order dogs that just got too much. And you really got to have the right type of dog that's willing to stand in there and find a way to get beyond the onslaught that's coming. So for us, it started young, and we built on it from there. So good question there, Mr. Barnes. Big shout out to my man, Mr. Dickie Foster. What up, fam? My main man, Derek Lockett. I see you, fam. Let's see who else I got here. The one and only Mr. Vernon Starr. What up, fam? My man, Mr. Eduardo Venezuela. What up, fam? Yo, yo, yo. My man, Styles Kennels in the house. What up, fam? Inglewood Kennels representing. What up, fam? The incomparable Mr. Eli Monster. I see you, fam. Yo, Cecil Jackson. What up, fam? Let me see here. I don't know why that didn't do that like that. I should have been able to do him. Let me get out of here and go see what I'm doing here. Be right with you. Well, I should have been able to do that. Hold on 1 second, gentlemen. Where we at here? Let me see. Where we go? That thing right there. Yeah. All right, then I had to take care of my man, Mr. Lawrence Brown. It wouldn't let me do it from my phone, but welcome to the Shark Tank, Mr. Barnes. Appreciate you showing up, fam, and welcome to the Shark Tank. Let's see here. Let me get back to where I was. Now, to all my people out there on the back street, y'all know what time it is. Roll them up, get that drink together, sit back, and get ready to enjoy yourself. Big shout out to my man, Mr. Bruce Banner in the house. What up, fam? Y'all kind of got to bear with me today. I've been on the for real. I don't know what the hell I done caught, but I done messed around and done got sick. Don't know what it is yet, but running me a little temperature and everything. But I'm still here. Got to get my little button up thing. I feel a little comfortable. Because when you get ready to talk business, you got to get ready to go ahead and do that thing. Knocking this out the park tonight. Mo will be here shortly. Let me see. But look, I'm gonna take my hat off. No, y'all know we weren't like. I mean, we were breeders, but we wasn't breeders selling to the public. So it's a lot of things that we did, that other people might look like a little different because, when you breeding and you selling puppies, I guess you have a different mind frame compared to, for us who were breeding and wasn't looking to get rid of anything. So we had the yard and we had the space to be able to do that. Now, raising puppies, I take my hat off to anybody, regardless whether you sell them or don't sell them. That is one hell of a responsibility, is raising puppies. Not just getting the breeding off and taking care of the mama, but everything that goes with that whole breeding process, man, it's a job in itself, just to be straight up with you. Me personally, I never really got into that part of it because, I did my thing, Mo did his thing. And it was just a reminder here lately, he wound up with, I think he had two different litters of Malinois pups and a pit bull that he had to, get through the mothering and the birthing process of puppies. Now, these things didn't happen. These are things that just weren't meant to happen. Now, the one breeding of the Malinois was meant to happen. That was his breeding. But then he had a friend that he had studied chaos out to, and, the female was having problems. And Mo took him in, and she ended up having 12, but by the time Mo got to him, she only had 6, but he brought them 6 through. Same thing with the pit bull. She had, I think she had 6, and going through problems. By the time Mo got to him, she had 2, but he saved them 2. But the process of watching all the things that he had to do took me all the way back to when we had the yard. And I think at one time we had 5 litters being born, on the yard. And all that work that went into it. Now, even then, it was a little bit better on him because we had the kids. The kids kind of knew what to do, you know. And when you're dealing with puppies, you know, taking care of that mama is the most important thing. And being able to keep them eyes on the things that was going on, you know, in them puppy pens. And it used to be hell. You know, mamas not wanting to feed or getting tired of them. You know, just all kinds of crazy shit. And I always looked at that as a big, you know, who does this? You know, even though what we were doing, you know, Mo was running out making them breedings, and we had already made it a point that we was gonna keep everything, and for us, everything meant just that, everything. So there was a point in time, you know, that we end up actually having really 80 dogs on the yard based on everything that we kept, and we let all that shit grow up. You know, like I said, I always say, I remember when everything was all said and done, and they all out there on them chains, spread it all over the yard and everything. And I remember we had 5.5 acres, so we wasn't hurting for yard. But it was time to bring it down. Now, generally, when we started that, we had a lot of grown dogs, and we had a lot of up and coming dogs. Now, things were up and coming that we basically were looking to weed out would be at least, I would say, 18 months. Anything 18 months and higher. 18 months and lower, the journey stayed on the yard just to grow up. But at that point in time, it was 18 months and up. And over that time period, we got down to 40 dogs. Now, those we didn't end up keeping went to a lot of friends, a lot of the right people's hands. That's why you see a lot of dogs just out there in other people's hands. They didn't have to buy them. You know, we were actually giving them away to all the right people, and then the things that they did with them was on them, but they did the right things with them. I mean, we always made sure everybody understood that, hey, these are not match dogs. But this is how they bred. Here go their papers. Just hang on to them and let them grow up. And I don't remember. Well, yeah, I do. Because Yellow Day, she was match material, but I think only reason they end up getting her and a couple more because the first time Mo got out of dogs, he saw all the dogs on the yard. So that's how a lot of them got out there too. I think that's how Jamie got his hands on a lot of them. But that raising the puppy situation was something that we took serious because those were our prospects. You know, when you're out here making these breedings, you got, you know, Mo was one of them who just, you always thought, you know, you got to give them a fair chance. You know, medicine on deck. You know, sometimes you had to pull some of them out and bottle feed them. Some of them, I can't remember that titty disease they have. He know more about that, but I seen him having to deal with that. I done seen him bring puppies back to life, you know, with the little heart thing and blowing in their mouth, all kind of crazy shit. But it just reminded me, seeing him going through what he's going through now, and as he's starting to get rid of them, you know, you know, because they're at that age now, from that 8 weeks, you know, so I think by 6 weeks they off the mama, and by 8 weeks he's looking to get them moved because they done had all these shots and all that shit is done. But it's just funny how I'm looking at just 2 different litters, actually 3 litters, and all the hell that was, you know, he go through getting them through it. And then I think about, the farm where we had all them puppy pens lined. They had their own part of the barn, and this barn had nothing but puppy pens lined down the wall. And we used to just, raise puppies. And we just wasn't the ones that would just let them sit in there and, you take the mama out. We were always hands on. The kids were always hands on. Everybody wanted to have their own little special dogs, puppies that they like as they grew up. That helped our situation because even to this day, you know, we still do the same thing with puppies, as in them that 8 weeks, as you're watching them grow, you start seeing them changes. You start seeing them little attitudes change. And then you get them out there, you let them get their first, I call it taste of Mother Nature by finally putting your feet on the ground. Get you out from under your mama and get your feet on the ground. And just that alone, you see so many different attitudes, so much difference in so many different type of dog, in the dogs. And everybody would always have a choice. And we used to be like that with all the bulldogs. Like me, I took Red Man. I had Red Man. I had Roger Ramjet. I had damn, it was another one. I had it. Buddy and Piper. Those were the ones that I took on the yard because most of the slow starters I took home with me because I had the time. I had the big enough yard myself, and those were the ones we put over here and just let them grow up a little bit because everything didn't pop at the same time. Everybody didn't act a certain way at the same time. I remember, I think they was about 90 days, I would say 3 months old. It was when we most started taking dogs out of the pens and putting them, separating them. We used to have some serious bangs, in them puppy pens as they got older. And, 3 months old, by that time, and you got 7, 8 little crumb snatchers running around, and then they already had a taste of what it is to be outside in that Mother Nature, out on the ground, in the big playpen. And it was a sight to see because bulldogs is no different than what I see these Malinois do. Back then, remember we had Doberman Pinschers and Rottweilers, so puppies were always going to be aggressive with their litter mates. Somebody was going to be always trying to ball hog the food. Somebody was always ball hogging the water. Somebody was always going to be ball hogging the toy that you give them to play with. So when things, as they got older, you start seeing that alpha attitude, and those be the ones you have to take away, get them out on the chain, and now they're amongst the big dogs. So just them little things like that help these puppies simply because they acted a different way once they got out with the big dogs, but as they grew, they were no different than the big dogs. See, I think puppies are like human kids. They learn as they grow up. They don't miss nothing. And that's something that we also, maybe why we didn't have people biters, because they were always around the kids. Either the kids was touching them, my kids was touching them, Mo's wife or my wife. They're always was going to be dealing with some type of human activity, throughout their puppy period and as they got older. So and I always thought maybe that's why we didn't have the ones with attack people. Now we've had some, like the mechanic dog, but even her, she was just a puppy, and and that I think a lot of that had to do with just her breeding. She was just crazy, I guess. I think that was a mechanic, and I think Sassy might have been Sassy. I don't remember, but Mo remember. But we used to put her at the front as you walk down through the trail. She would be at the front because she was just hot. She would bite humans. She would always, grab Mo's leg, his boot, and be fighting the boot, not trying to bite him, but it was something about his boots, and he would have to down there get out the boots and then have to go in there and get her off his boot. But she was a little different, but she was too young to blame it on anything except for, okay, this dog right here is an aggressive people biter. Now, she never lived long enough to get for us to see how she would turn out as she grew up, because I think she had got off. We had a kennel accident, and I think it might have been Bebe. It might have been Bebe who ended up killing her, but it was just the things you had to go through when raising puppies. It was almost like Mo had this big ass, I called it a big chalkboard, but it wasn't really a chalk. It was like he had each dog, had their own section. It looked like a whole bunch of stickies, on this big old thing, but each dog had that certain thing. And what we used to do is, and even the kids were a part of that, we used to put things on the board about what we liked about each puppy. As you're handling a puppy, how did it run today? How's the puppy acting, out there amongst the other puppies? Then we would take some litters and put litters together just to see how they would would get along. Because one thing that we were always trying to do is enhance the traits that we did like, but take them same traits and put them with other dogs of the same traits from a different litter. And we did, I guess that was our little scientific way of trying to make sure that whatever we kept was going to be the best of the best. Because that's basically how we were thinking. We were only trying to keep the best of the best, and we actually examined everything that we kept in all different circumstances, on all different levels, by even taking litters and taking the bullies and put them over there with some of the other bullies. So I always felt that if everybody did that, and went through that process when you were dealing with puppies, I don't see how you could always be dealing with puppies. Because that's crazy to me. I mean, then you already waiting, 18 months before you even do anything. And then from there, you still talking about maybe another year. Because, 2.5, 3, it was time to, that was judgment time period. That judgment time period was, all right, made it this long. It's that time to take a good look at you and see what you're about. And I feel like if you're giving a dog a chance, a puppy, because remember, they like babies. They come out really not knowing nothing, but then, their traits and everything about them is going to come through. Like, I see the weirdest shit out of, people who have Malinois. You probably understand where I'm coming from. They stand in shit and stand in piss. I mean, literally, not like most dogs get down and do this. No, these dogs and it's 12 of them. And I'm not talking about just one litter did it. I seen 2 litters of Malinois puppies stand, pissing, and shitting in their pen. Now, but that was our first. Yeah, that's the first time we've ever had a litter of Malinois. And to see 2 different litters do that, it was kind of like, okay, it's like either that's a chaos situation because they definitely had 2 different mamas, and we don't know where they got that shit from, but it was something that it wasn't taught to them. That was something that was in them to do. So understanding those little things, the little bitty things, we used to take advantage of that because you kind of wanted to know where their heads at because every puppy was not the same. You had the runt, and then you had the big monster, then you had the one over in the corner who didn't really want to be bothered by nobody, but nobody bothered them. We had all these different looks and attitudes, and we used to enhance those things by being hands-on with them. They had their little toys. They had their little ropes and tug-of-wars and all the little things to let a puppy, like a kid, let them grow up just being puppies. Because as they got older, these things intensified. You could see that every time you broke out the rope, now they're at 3 months, 4 months old. The minute they see the rope, everybody's going crazy for the rope. And see, this bringing them up like that, it helped us a lot too once we got them on chains, they chain spots, because then it was easy to keep them, that attitude fired up like that. Because now we're going to give one end of the rope to one of the grown dogs and get a little puppy the other end and let him see what it, how it feel to have the rope taken from them. You know how some of them big dogs, they refuse to let that little puppy hang on. They going to snatch and drag his ass, and when he loses the rope, you're going to get a chance to see how the little puppy acts. And see, that's something that we even do with our Malinois. So it's not like you're teaching them anything. See, those Malinois puppies will, growing up around their parents, they hear the doorbell ring, they're going to clock out. They're going to be barking just as loud as their mother and father do. So they already understand anytime you hear the doorbell, they automatically know what to do. And remember, these dogs cannot be no more than, I think they was 10 weeks. I think, yeah, about 4 or 5 weeks old. So even now, got their ears standing up now, and they're alert. But that goes to show you, by watching them, you kind of can already see, okay, which ones you like of which ones you like. Now, we're not keeping all 12. I think we're down to maybe 6 now. And out of them 6, I think Mo's keeping 2. But even just, and the reason I speak on them, because if just being around them takes me all the way back to when we were raising pit bull puppies. The attitude and, the work still looked the same. 2-3 times a day having to deal with that shit. But the attitudes and what you're looking, when you start, we're just sitting around and we like him over here or like him and watch the certain things that they do. We used to be like that with our puppies, our pit bull puppies. And it was fun back then because the kids enjoyed. Imagine you got my kids, Mo's kids, and everybody down for the summer type situation. That's almost a total of 10 kids. And you got all these puppies and all these different ages, and everybody has a puppy. Everybody has a little collar and a little walking thing. And we used to just let the kids raise the puppies, basically. You know, we did a lot of the work, but the kids became inducted into the American Pit Bull Terrier. That's probably why that's why they all probably got them now to this day, because they felt more comfortable with them. But it was something that, in the long run, you watch these dogs grow up and how they grew up and how they perform based off of just the love of the person, the people, you know. And I don't understand sometimes how, you know, as a breeder, you're just breeding these dogs. How do you know when you what you're really willing to let give away, even at 6 and 8 weeks old? To me, it was like you couldn't really tell much at that 8 and 6 weeks part. They all got their shots, and everybody, the mama's out the pen now. Now there's a bunch of damn little monsters just running around, just raising hell. But even then, you could always have your little pick, but you really never really was solid on that, because when you had all them litters, damn, you could probably pick maybe 4 or 5 out of each litter that you would swear up and down was going to be about that life. But one thing that as we let them grow, you know, that changed. You know, that's why it's amazing how certain dogs change as they get older. You know, and I guess that's when we started realizing, you know, as they got older, you know, which was going to be which, who was going to be who, you know. And I don't think that maybe everybody don't think like that, but because we weren't looking at it from a financial part, we were looking at it as having a little family there and just raising them up to be the best that they could be. So yeah, we were a little bit more hands-on, and I paid a lot more attention, simply because at some point somebody was going to be leaving and somebody was going to be staying. But we weren't under the gun where we had to get rid of dogs. You know, we wasn't pressed to get rid of anything. So we had that opportunity to just, we can truly say we watched them all grow. We did the whole bite, you know, bite work with them, the little tug of wars, everything that enhanced their wanting to do whatever they wanted to do, as far as get it off. You know, some took a little bit, you know, not everybody would jump on the rope, because again, you know, when you got puppies fighting for that rope, it ain't but one rope, and you got 6, 8 puppies trying to get on that rope. Somebody gonna get snatched off so that other one can get the rope. But we, you know, that's puppy play that you found, and you learned a lot based on puppy play. But that's why it was easy for us to, because of all these litters, we could take the slow ones and put the slow ones together, and take them hot ones and put them together. And then now you breaking it down. All right, once you got the hot ones together, depending on what's going on in the hot pen, who is the next one that's going to be leaving the hot pen and go on the chain? Because you know, the hotter the pens got, the more the chain spots start, you know, filling up. So the relationship for us started way back at birth and continued long beyond birth. At least I would say 18 months to 3 years old. And my thing is, fellas, that took time. Raising any type of dog, really. But then we talk about American Pit Bull Terriers. They're not like the Malinois. Malinois, yep, they come in barking and everything. And you like to see them, not wanting people touching them. If you don't know them, they don't want you touching them. That's a trait. These bulldogs was something totally different because all the kids was always touchy and hands-on, so you wasn't looking for a shy pit bull. But as they were getting older, now you're looking at other things. And we always felt that they all needed that chance. Now, I don't know, some of y'all might not understand what I'm trying to say here, but it's like raising a kid. I'm raising my children, and dad's always messing with the dogs. They're going to be messing with the dogs. They're learning a lot of things from me. Even when I'm going to work, or they just see everything. They want their own toolboxes. All the little things that mothers and fathers do as your children are growing, your children seem to pick up. Even my kids, when it came down to walking, I didn't wait till they were 8, 9 months old trying to teach them how to walk. Actually, I was standing my kids up, putting them in a walker at 3 and 4 months old. Yeah, when you wanted to hang out with daddy go to the store, daddy put them in the walker. You want to keep up with daddy, you better be running down the aisle with me in your walker. And believe it or not, I only had one child who was not walking at 6 months old. He did start walking at 8, and he was a boy. So those are the little traits that we used to be, you look at even with the bulldogs. You started doing them, you start doing things early just so you could get a good look at what they really truly like to do. And you made that task competitive, a little bit harder every time. Didn't make it a cakewalk. You always just, whether it was pulling on the rope, tug of war, you made that task for them a little bit harder, because to me it helped improve their drive. It helped get them in that mode of, how bad do you want this rope? They lose the rope, put that rope right there, and they going nuts because they want that rope back. And they're gonna try a little bit harder to maintain and hang on to that rope the next time they get it. Now, imagine doing that year, 2 years, and in the process of doing that, you're schooling them, you're talking to them, you're hands on with them. I mean, even down to the bike work and the running, all that was always hands on. Whether it was the kids doing it, me doing it, Mo doing it, my wife doing it, his wife doing it, they all knew when that bike came, they were all, happy as hell because they know they're fixing to go run. They're finna go ride, take this big old run, and they're eager to make that run. So everything that we're doing as we're raising them, we're preparing them for what their life is going to be like. You're going to be around a lot of dogs. We're always going to be pushing the best out of you, whether it was pulling the rope, hanging on the thing. It was just, these dogs needed time. And I've seen so many of my friends get dogs, have puppies, put them on the chain, and never spent no time with them till they like 18 months, 19 months. Then all of a sudden they're supposed to see, the all world part. And I just never understood how that worked. I don't think and don't get me wrong. it might have worked for some. Because if it's in them, it's in them. But being that's not a process we ever tried, I wouldn't know. I always thought your numbers was always going to be better if you had hands on. You were always hands on. You were always there, through that whole time period that what you were help them increase their ability to learn and that eagerness and that vigor, and that being able to want to get out there and run on the mill or run behind with the four-wheeler. These are things that we built from the minute they left their mama at 4 weeks, then to all the way up to now we're dealing with 18-month-old dogs. And, I still do the same thing with my dog. She was always hands-on. So I think the more you are in relationship to what you're doing, it makes your product better. In other words, even if you're trying to sell these dogs, I think people have a better choice of what type of dog they want when you are bringing them up with that hands-on, and now you have people from outside the yard coming in looking at your puppies. They're going to see a lively bunch of puppies to be able to choose from what's in there, because they're already what I consider full go. They're already in that mode. New face come around, they jumping around, and if somebody trying to get, that person might like this one, but then this one over here, he gonna run over there and snatch him off the damn kin because he's trying to get over there where the new face is. Because why? They were like that being brought up because my kids could only pull one out the pen at a time. So every time that pen door opened, the puppies was always trying to be there to be that one that's getting out. Who's getting out first? So you standing there talking, and you know how you looking in the pen and everything, and everybody knows somebody, it's time to get out. They're going to have their little scraps because everybody want to be the next guy to get out. So those are the little things that helped as they grew. And I got a chance to see what that looked like even when it came down to having to move some of these Malinois puppies. Everybody had a good opportunity to pick out a good dog. Because these dogs are going to be good dogs. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. Not just because of their mother and their father. It's just because the way they were brought up to the point to where when they went into somebody else's hands. And again, we real funny about handing out Malinois pups to anybody. Simply because it's like a pit bull. You almost have to have an application to even get around with one of them. Literally an application. And even then, Mo tell them, take them home 3-4 weeks, get them accustomed to them, and then bring them back through so he can help them, with their training process. Because by the time they leave our yard at 8 weeks, they're housebroken already. They don't even shit in their pants. You know what I'm saying? And it has always been like that. And the only way you can get dogs to be like that is you got to be hands-on. Start that shit early. Get them in their heads right now. We ain't going to keep shitting in the pen. Don't need everybody sitting in the pen. So you get them on that time schedule. At this time, every day you eat at this time, and then you go outside at this time. And that shit still works to this day. I just seen it. I mean, he does it. He just did it with 2 litters of Malinois pups. And the pit bull puppies, they just now turning like 2-3 weeks. So they got a ways to go. But that process that we used to do way back then, he still do it now, and it still worked out the same way. It was just so many dogs that I was like, man, you ain't got the kids, and you doing that, still doing that crazy shit. But it wasn't something that he was looking to happen or wanted to happen. But he's a dog man, so he had his, but he's always gonna be open to help other people do what they do. So big shout out to Mo for doing that shit. But I just felt like, man, I know why we wasn't breeders. Because you would have been mad at me because I wouldn't have been wanting to keep doing that shit. And just to see him go through it now, I'm like, what happened? You getting too old for this shit, bro. Man, I ain't mean for this, but got caught in a situation. That's why I takes my hat off to anybody who's breeding out here. And because it is a really big responsibility, first and foremost. But in the same token, I really believe, when you're selling dogs, you really don't know what kind of dog you're going to get your hand on. When you're just buying puppies, you're just buying puppies. You really don't know. But regardless of what it is, if it's yours, you got to give it time. And that time comes with a lot of disappointment along the way. Imagine what it takes to get a dog to run up a wall. Imagine what it takes when you put that dog on that treadmill, at 8, 9 months old, how that dog react. Your dog at 8, 9 months old gonna act a little different than our 3, 4 month old clients on the treadmill, because they learn not to be afraid of it at an early age instead of waiting until they get to that age. Now, yeah, we put them on that meal not to get them like they're gonna burn the world up. But if you just put a 3, 4 month old dog on the meal, they're gonna be skittish of it, and just move it. Get them used to it. Talk to them because they're used to you already. If you're giving them the time of day and you're putting that human attention to them, you're just doing certain things that helping them along the way. See, maybe because we already had a plan. I think maybe a lot of that is just basically that. If you ever had a plan and the plan worked, you never kind of deviate from the plan, because if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? You can always implement a plan to be better, but sometimes implementations of things into a working plan makes things worse. So when all else fails, go back to what works. And for us, what works is spending that time and nurturing what we're trying to get out of them. Like, do I want to wait to 8, 9 months and spend all that time trying to get this dog to figure out what I really need him to do on the meal and stop being skittish? Then let's get that out the way early. Same with the damn 3-wheeler. You had to get them used to that. By 4 months old, they were used to it. Why? Because at 3 months, when they finally find themselves out on that little chain spot, they see the older dogs getting it, and they want to be able to get out there with them older dogs and do the same thing. And before you know it, you got 3, 4 month old puppies running behind a 3-wheeler. Why? Because they see everybody else doing it. They want to do it too. So it's the little things that I be thinking that for all you new guys out there, it's more than just taking them and breeding them and putting them together and then throwing them out on chains. We had the best relationship with our dogs simply because we spent time with them. Not just a little time. I'm talking about a lot of time. Because again, we were breeding for a purpose. And our purpose is nothing like what y'all purpose was. So if you look at the Malinois, they're bred for a purpose. Now, you can imagine these are Malinois. These are going to be protection dogs. So what's the first thing I'm trying to get my Malinois to be able to do as a protection dog when he's 2, 3 months old. I want him to listen. That's why, first things first. What's the first thing you want a dog to do before you do anything? You got to housebreak them. And in order to housebreak a dog, you have to discipline that dog to no. No. And then, that's where the time part comes in, because they don't understand what that no's for. But you spend the time there, they will learn in less than a week. And that's just one thing out the way. But it's a big jump, because when you're trying to teach a dog something, you want to see that dog catch on fast. And as the handler of these dogs and our relationship with these dogs, we know they have to understand what we demanded of them. So why not figure that out at an early age? I did it with my kids. When I say you want to hang out with daddy, daddy ain't gonna be carrying your shit. Daddy gonna put you right in this walker here, and you gonna keep up. Let's go. Even around the house, time come, I have them outside the walker. Now you, instead of in the walker walking, now I got you walking with the walker on the outside of it. Right, so you got that down pat enough, then daddy gonna take the walker from you. Now you're gonna hold on to daddy's finger. Let's go. All you gotta do is hang on my finger. I got you. They do a little swinging and all that other shit for a minute, but they catch on. These puppies, this puppy game is, I guess, we looked at it the same way. Schooling started early. When I say early, I'm talking about once mama is off that, once they're off that mama titty, shit starts right then for them. And you got to have something in place to know what you're fixing to do moving forward. What is going to be the purpose? If I was going to try to get one to run up a wall or run on a treadmill or do anything, first thing I have to do is get their attention on me. What do you like most? Is it this ball? Is it this bite bar? Is it this rope? I need something that when I do this or put that in front of you, your attention has got to the point that, yeah, you want that. That's my toy. And then you work from there. See, I'm just giving y'all the little small things, because I see, so many people have the bulldog, little puppies in their pen, and they all act crazy and everything. That's the norm for us. I mean, I could show you Malinois puppies do the same damn thing. They scrapping all the time. I show you pit bull puppies. It ain't but 3 weeks old in there with their mamas, trying to fight her. So, but those are normal things that you can expect from these dogs. The learning process is something that the human has to bring to it. For me, I don't put the responsibility on the dog. I put the responsibility of the dog's action on me. It's where I keep one around my house. Actually, too. I don't need my pit bull eating up my doodle. Even though my Maldoodle, Lily thinks she the oldest one in the house. This is her house, and thinks she runs the house. But you got a growing up pit bull, and that pit bull will be 2 years old in September. Can you imagine the hell and the things I had to go through to keep them from clashing like they clash? Because I don't want nothing to happen to my wife's dog. But she might know how to act. Hella might know how to act with Lily because she grew up with her. Don't mean that Hella gonna know how to act when she sees anything outside this house. Because Lily still don't act right outside this house. To me, Lily is the reason Hella acts the way she acts outside this house. Because Lily is a little ankle biter, but Lily, I done seen Lily scratch into Hella after Hella done snatched her up and tossed her across the room. I seen Lily come right back. So, the little dog, she got a little heart. But then age had a lot to do with that because she was around here and couldn't no other dog come in here and just run her house. And now this new dog, you might be bigger than her, but it never took nothing away from Lily's confidence. But it's the little things, man, that helps these dogs get to where we want them to get. Now, I know you guys be moving forward with the new thing. And I bring these things to your attention simply because, even us as competitors back in the day, we still never just threw dogs on the chain and just let them grow up. We never did that. Never. I can't think of not one time in our whole entire pit bull career, even when we first got them, way back in the 80s, did we ever throw them on the chain and just feed them and let them grow up. Because even then, we was already raising trained Doberman pinchers. Trained. And we started training them from when they were puppies. So why would we change that attitude when we were dealing with pit bulls? Actually, I believe that's where our dogs were able to win for us like they did because of the relationship we had with them. I really believe that because, we could talk to them. People would be tripping out. Is that dog listening to what they saying? Hell yeah, the dog listening. Man, you know how long that dog been listening to shit that we say? We can point right here, right here. Did that dog just walk away from that leg and run back there? Oh shit. Everybody knew that we trained dogs. You know what I'm saying? But the artwork came in to when we were trying to, even with our proteges, they kind of understood, don't leave out the small things. Like the small thing. What's the small things, twin? Small things is spend that time with them. Get them to be able to do everything that you want them to do. Be able to turn them on, slow them down, speed them back up. All based on you talking to them. It works. And we always felt like we had the upper hand because we knew everybody wasn't doing that. It takes more than just running in there and just cutting them loose. They're going to do what they do anyway. But what if I had the upper hand on you because you're not doing what I'm doing? Remember that 3 hours and 17 minutes shit we was talking about, the longest shit that we ever went into? They was using our keep. The one thing that they didn't have that we had was Mo could tell his dog, not right there. Get on his face. Mo start pointing at his face. Right here, right here, right here. Psycho jumped on that boy's face. Ties went to the change. Because he didn't like that face shit. He rolled it all the way out to when it came time. And Mo got that handle. He didn't want no more of that face shit. But prior to that, the back and forth and the moving and all that, just letting them work, all that was fine and dandy. But when that's time to slow down and you're at that point, that dog needs some help. What kind of help did he need? He needed to hurry up and let's get out of here. That leg he ain't doing nothing, but you got the leg and he's still in here. Get on that face. Right there, right there. That changed the whole tide of everything. So I always felt like training is a major part of owning a dog, really. That's why, we always say it ain't the dog's fault, it's the owner's fault. for anything a dog do wrong, I don't blame the dog. I always blame the owner, because at some point the dog is just being a dog. At what point do you start being a responsible owner? Responsibility falls on the person who owns the dog. And so I'm a true believer in fact when it comes down to doing that type of shit, because again, the dog is going to grow up and is going to live his little jolly life. He has to wait for you to come out there and feed him. He got to wait for you to give him some water. He got to wait for you to do everything that they do in life. He got to wait for you to do, unless they know they got a backyard and you can let them out and they just go play in the backyard. When it comes time to come in, they'll either knock on the door or they'll be sitting by the door. I'm saying I'm ready. But even that takes time in a relationship with your dog. And I think pit bulls, they are, to me, they're the most lovingest dog by nature. And when I say by nature, because I trusted every dog we had around our kids. And even kids that came with my kids. If they're not biting my kids, they shouldn't be biting none of my kids' friends, because they was always wanting to show off the dogs. But that's something that we worked hard to do. They weren't isolated from what life had to offer. There's some people who they don't get that. I think, and for me personally, I think a pit bull who is bred a certain type of way is already gonna have that vigor in them, and it's just a matter of how you're gonna control that vigor. You know what I mean? Or you just gonna act like you don't see that vigor and let that vigor attitude run out of control. Because I think a lot of people, when things happen bad, they always say, "I never seen that before." But how old is the dog? 4 or 5 years old? But believe me, the dog didn't wait to get to 4 or 5 years old to show you that attitude. That dog has always had that attitude. He just finally had the opportunity to release that attitude. And that's how I be looking at that. Because if you stop that shit early, they wouldn't, dogs have great memory. They have great memory. That's why when we train in the Malinois, you can beat, kick, swing, punch, anything to them dogs. I'm telling you, all you're doing is making them matter. Why? Because they've been trained to accept that. And that's just all you're doing is you just turning him into, really, now you're really having a problem, because this dog is not going to go anywhere. You hitting and swinging and beating and thinking you're going to slam this dog and think that dog going to quit. No. And I've had a lot of people who think they could do that. You think you can really whoop a dog? Okay. See, our Malinois ain't small. We have big Malinois. Chaos is no little dog at all. And when he in full go, you got problems. I felt like that about all the dogs that we kept as guard dogs. Oh, from Hans to Apollo to Zeus. We knew what type of dogs these were. See, we understand the purpose. Remember, for us, every time we talk about, whether it be the Malinois, the German Shepherds, Doberman Pinschers, or the Pit Bulls, every last one of them had a purpose that we had. They all had a certain purpose. And in order for them to serve our purpose, they had to be the best at what they did when it came down to the purpose they were serving for us. So we gave them every opportunity and every chance to be able to do that based on the time that we actually spent with them as far as the training process. Start them young, be consistent every day or every other day. Don't let them discourage you, because one thing that you're going to learn about when you're training these dogs And I call it schooling because a pit bull can get tired of, working the skin or working the pole. You know, every once in a while, it paid to let them catch what they chasing. You know, for the puppies, you didn't make them work that hard. You get them to understand they got to run for it, but then you let them catch it. But the older they get, you make it hard for them to catch. But you always still let them catch it because they're going to work harder to be able to do what you want them to do over a certain period of time when you're processing them to do it at your pace, not their pace, but at your pace. So that's why we could get them to sit them out there on that flirt pole or on that spring and come back out there 3-4 hours later and you see them still hanging on that spring, look like they done fell asleep, just hanging there. What makes a dog do that? It's in their head. It was built up over the time that you don't come down off of there until I come get you. And then when I come get you and you see time to come off, he might have looked like he was hanging there asleep, but you're going to see him wake up and start fighting because now I got to use the breaking stick to get him off. Psychologically put that in their head. You don't come down until I come get you. To me, it wasn't nothing but getting that thought in their head. You don't quit. You don't stop doing it based because you want to. No, you're going to stop doing it when I tell you to. Psychologically giving them that extra room that we don't have to worry about you standing here when I say scratch. Why? Because it's already been implanted in your head, regardless of what time it is or how bad you feel or whatever the situation. That word automatically sends off a ding. Because now you're not running on your clock, you're running on mine. That ding. Yeah, and it did work. Yeah, it worked. Some people used to say, Twin, why do you be saying that? Same reason I can tell him to get off that leg and go back there in that stifle. It's a team here. We do this together. You ain't just having to deal with him. You got to deal with me too. So, again, when you have people who think like that, guess what? That means we have the upper hand on you. And then I ain't bragging, but I'm just put it out there like this. We don't have many in the L columns, and I can really name, Dusty and Red Ace. Only 2 dogs that we ever had that stood in the corner. You already know how I felt about Red Ace situation because she had just killed Tommy Boy and she still stood there because she didn't want to be there anyway. Dusty at 2 hours and something, I think that was that was early in our career. And I think that was the first time Mo realized that, he could have did something. Remember, he let her lay around too long. See, he didn't let that happen in the cycle match. It wasn't room to lay around. And when he did realize that we at that point that he wants to just not, he just holding on, he just there. I need him to change up the game plan. That's why he said, put him on that nose. I also remember saying, Mo, don't let him do that. Don't let him lay there. Get him up. And Mo got him, okay, put him on that nose, and that took care of our night. But he had a chance to do that early in our career with Dusty at I think it was 236, and he let her lay there too long. I mean, way too long, and she was on top. But those was lessons learned. But outside of that, those lessons learned taught us how to travel. Those lessons learned taught us how to do a lot of things. So I guess you got to learn a lot before you realize when you have mastered what you need to do. So, and that ain't me just bragging. I mean just trying to just be, you know, some people haven't done the things that we've done and never really looked into why we used to do the things we do. But just think about some of the successful kennels that we sit here and talk about. Like Stone City, like Hardcore, like Mau Mau, and I don't, Rasta Man and them. All of them had their own little ways of doing things. McNasty and them, and they wasn't even breeders. You know, Suburbanite Paul, even though he didn't have a lot of dogs, he was one of them that he understood the concept of he could tell, his dog how to work. Damn, I can't even remember Suburbanite Paul's dog's name. He had a grand champion, and she was a monster. Was it Sable? Might have been grand champion Sable. Don't get me wrong, but I believe it was Sable. She was a monster. And she could be in the chest, and he would point, boom, and she would be back in there, and he'd point at the other stifle. She'd be over there. So you learn from what you see. And see, I didn't see many people that were able to do that. Actually, when Jesse and them in Stone City seen us do it, they were shocked by it. They was like, y'all teach that dog to do that? And it became a part of what they were doing. That's probably why we were all so close, because these weren't just fly-by-nighter guys. From the time we went to Puerto Rico and after all these years, they were good people. Same with Hardcore Mike. They just had a certain way of doing things that we admired. They just knew what a good dog looked like, and what things that we added to what we done just enhanced what they were already being well known for. So I always took my hat off to them, because they helped us become who we were. Because one thing, in order to be good in what I consider the competition, the fast lane, you had to have first the product to be even willing to even be there. So regardless of how much training and all that other shit that extra that we throw to it, I don't take the credit for all that. I take the credit for taking advantage of what was already in the dog. And they just always had what you needed in the right dogs. They knew how to get the right dogs. You see, in this now, for us, we knew what the right dog was, because we went out and we were competitive with the right dogs, doing the way we did it. In the now, you have to be able to be more like that hands-on guy, all the way down to, a trainer. Now, we all just watched the Olympics. We already know, not everybody can do some of the shit that they was doing, but training does that. I mean, I really believe that I could, in my younger days, because now I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, but I believe you could get a pit bull to run up a wall as high as it would want to go. I mean, I'm almost talking about 17, 18 feet. It didn't matter. I mean, I got one who really want to go and start him early. I wouldn't give a damn what kind of wall it was. Shit, I seen pit bulls damn near the one I got here run up a tree. Literally, I seen her jump over a fucking fence. And that's not me teaching her to jump over the fence. That was just because she was after something, and that fence wasn't going to be enough to stop her from going after it. All the way up the damn tree. Now, think about if I was to actually stop and just take her and say, okay, you want to run up something? Let me see if you can run up this wall. But then I got a little nutcase because she got blinders on. She gets zeroed in on something. And man, she can't get up under it, she's going over it. Literally. So I think the key to why I talk about the puppy situation is because, first of all, whatever you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it, that's where it all starts at. And then as that puppy grow, you just got to give them time. And in the process of giving them that time, you got to utilize that time with some type of purpose. If you're going to be out there hunting hogs, you better have that some gun out there early to be a good hog hunter. Let him know early what's all involved. The earlier he learns, the better he'll get at it. The more confident they get as they get older. I noticed that in all the dogs we've ever, put in a competition or even had on the yard, we just believed in confidence. Got to be able to make the dog feel confident. I remember Mo used, some of our shit, our matches, Mo could get down there and he would position himself to where him and the dog are eye to eye. Where Mo looking dead in the dog's eye, and he know the dog got his attention, and so he'll point right here, and it will just stop what it's doing, and then get back there, and then Mo praises him. That's it, boy. Yeah, right there. Dig. And that dog would go nuts. Then Mo could be standing to the side of the dog, and you can see the dog when it cuts out the side of his eye and see him standing there, and he'll tell him, slow down. Slow down. He's not being aggressive with it. He's not trying to, that same tone of like dig. He says in a calm motion, slow down. The dog will slow down. See, I guess we took this game a little bit more as a sport of trying to actually be like our people, our mentors. Not try to be better than them, but just to be like them. Everything that we threw in extra wasn't to be better. It was taking something that we already knew and felt like if it worked for these type of dogs, we can make it work for these. I mean, hell, we done had all kinds of damn dogs. We didn't know how to train these. We could do, maybe we could add a little bit spice to this shit, see what it looked like. And it worked for us. That's all I'm saying. The thing is, it takes time. And if you have the time and be willing to put in the work that it takes to do what you're trying to master moving forward with these dogs, it starts at a very, very young age for them. And if you have the purpose right, they're going to be able to reward you based off the work and the time that you put in to be able to climb 17, 18 feet. To be able to run that treadmill because you require them to run it how you want them to run it. They've been trained and learned how to run a treadmill. Weight pulling. Their confidence will not let them stand there and act like they're not going to move that weight. You started early with them. They got what it takes in them. Now all you got to do is just strap them up and tell them, let's go. Let's go. It's not something that they heard for the first time. They know every time you tell them that you can do this, they're not going to let you down. They're going to dig. They're going to dig. These are what I think are small things to give you big results. We always talk about breedings. We always talk about how to breed this and, this trait and that trait. We even try to tell you a little bit about the schooling process. But I don't think I heard Mo really mention, what led to not just the schooling process, but the actual, how much time was actually spent on raising these dogs. Literally. See, even though we ran our own businesses, we had control over our times. But then that's why we had, the kids. The kids understood what we were doing and how we were doing it. And say they played a major point because you got to remember what time kids go to school. You know what I mean? Then you got to remember what time the kids get home. So the whole time the kids in school, that means we out working. But in the morning time before the kids, getting ready for school, Mo was already out there working on the dogs. They had half the dogs that morning. By the time the kids come home, they do the other half the dogs. And by the time Mo come in from work to close everything down, now he got his kids and him and me over there on the farm, out there playing with everything out there in the yard. Every day. Every damn day. That was our routine. Kids, dogs, and work. And it paid off. I think the biggest enjoyment that I get out of our whole career in these dogs is the other people who had our dogs after us and then have the success that they did. Big shout out to my proteges, because, what can I say? One day they'll be able to sit here and tell their story and be able to talk about us the same way we talk about Big Mike and Harold and McNasty, Mr. T. I mean, that list goes on because those are the reasons why we became who we became, simply because the information that they were willing to give. And it's a different story when you got somebody who just talking compared to when you got somebody that you're seeing for yourself. Like, damn. You know what I mean? I've seen enough of hardcore shit. Seen enough of Stone City shit. Seen enough of Mile Mile shit. Seen enough of the Abraham shit. McNasty shit. Seen enough of a whole lot of people's shit that made me want to be like them. You got some badass dogs. Don't know how you got them like that, why they looking good like that, but I'll need to find out how to do what they doing. And I think that's one of the major reasons why we sit here and we do this part right here. Because a lot of you guys, you might hear about Stone City, but you don't really know who they are. Hardcore, you might hear about their great dogs, but you really don't know who they are. And Joe and Nate, Abraham, McNasty, Hal Cass, the Fonz. I mean, that list can just get so much bigger because these are people that you had relationships with, and I'm not talking about just high and by. I'm talking about good relationships. And for a lot of y'all who don't know who they are, some of you guys might know who they are because I know a lot of people who say, y'all, they knew the Fonz, they knew Storm and Norman because they was from those areas. But there's so many other places that people don't know these guys. And these guys were about that, they was really real dog men. But you're only going to know compared to what's in your area. See, we try to bring all that back because they were great dog men. They had great dogs. And they were great teachers of the game. And we just prime examples of their teaching. So if people took half of what we said, just half of what the things that we have said, and just put it to work in your own yard. And I mean, I say that with conviction because, you can tell somebody something and they're not really they're going to take what you said, but they're not going to put the effort and the time that you put into it. So that don't make it, well, I did what what's the name said. No, if you had to deal what they said with the same conviction that they had when they told you, then you probably would have got the same results. But see, this is why I'm a true believer in, I want to believe anything that you say with my eyes first. I'm going to see, let me see. If you got this, you say you got all this, or you're keeping all that, I'm gonna go see. I'm going to see what you're working with. And it takes more than one time. I want to see how consistent you are about what you're working with. Maybe that's why we've seen so damn much, because we've consistently been able to be out and see and make the right decisions on what we were going to do based on, we did make our decision based off of what we see. So I see you got a good keep. I see you using good dogs, and you're giving me some information. I'm going to take that information. I'm going to try to do exactly the way you said to do it, with the same conviction that I think that you were applying when you were willing to tell me. That means do this, do this, do this, and don't half-ass do this, do this, do this. That's where I'm at with that. I'm a just true believer in that, because how is it going to work for them and not for me if I'm putting in the same type of work that they're telling me to put in? Twin, you got to do this every day. Twin, you got to make sure when you're doing this, you got to watch this and watch that. All dogs ain't the same. So you'll notice this, and then if something, this is going wrong, you do this. But don't, pay attention to what you're doing. Twin, get a big board, write down everything you do. Yep, get a big board, write down everything you do. All these things is not things that we made up. All these things that Mo sits here and he tells you are things that each one of them guys were willing to share, is what created Going Hard Kennels. Because we took a little bit of something from everybody. And then was not afraid to share that with other people. I mean, as far as our, when I say share, I mean our proteges. These were young guys, and they just loved to get in the game, and they was willing to put in that work. How you know they willing to put in that work? Because they was there. It was right there. The same way we was right there dealing with you, our mentors. We're right there. How you going to have to tell me, no, twin, don't come by the house. I'm busy or something. You're going to have to tell me. They were like that. They were always there. And once again, their success is their success. They earn that. I don't need that shine. They did that shine all by themselves. But I can understand how our mentors felt about us. Yeah, I watched them boys. They came up tough in here. I ain't never had one come through here and brag about what they did, or even made a comment like, well, I taught y'all how to do this, and I taught you, but don't be for me doing this or be for doing that. You never heard none of that come from none of their mouths. That's the integrity and the humbleness. You know, I just find it necessary to make sure that y'all don't forget those type of people, because it's those type of people who are responsible for people like us. We're responsible for people like the future. Don't have to tell y'all to go get in the box. But what we can tell you, the things that will enhance whatever purpose that you're trying to do moving toward in the future, whether it's running a wall, pulling some weights. I mean, some of y'all, this all might be totally new to you. I just want a pit bull. Well, tell you what, it's not the easiest thing to maintain. Some people just want a pit bull. Well, okay. And some people be willing to sell you one and take your money, but not willing to tell you what all comes with having this damn thing. That's a flaw for me, because it's not always about the money. Sometimes it's just about the integrity of being right by helping somebody. Come over here and you buy a Malamar. Trust me, you fixing to get the 3rd degree. You just want a Malamar because everybody else got a Malamar, or because your homeboy, no Mo, he got one of them, and we was talking about it, and I came to get one. But you might as well sit down for a minute, bro. Because you can have all the money in your pocket right now, and you still might not walk out of here with this dog. And then I'm going to call my partner and say, and ask him. You know, just to make sure, because these dogs aren't meant for everybody. Here's a good dog. Am I going to sell you a good dog just so you can ruin it? That dog, life depends on what you do with it. I'm going to just give it to somebody just to fuck up the dog? No. And if you see and for the ones like I was talking about the breeding process, if you understand all of that goes into that and the time that's involved in that, and then you got somebody out here just fucking up your shit like that. No, if you got any love and integrity for what you're doing, you're not gonna let that happen to you. Something that you feel so strong about. And I can truly say, I don't say this lightly. I speak this because I feel it in my heart. I feel it because this is just who we've been. This is who we are. This is who we have always been. And if this is what it takes to make this game better as it moves forward, then you guys got to understand this is not easy. Yeah, you can go out and buy a pup, but then that's just one step in the whole game. What's the purpose? Now that you got it, how can you help this dog grow in life and be able to still complete the purpose of why you got the damn dog? I'm not one to believe in putting dogs on just chains and letting them run around the yard. Never been a fan of that, and didn't understand for people who do that. Why do you do that? If you got a yard full of dogs out there hog cutting, more power to you. At least the dogs are doing something. But just to have them out there, just to be able to say you got them, that's a boring life for such a good animal. Find something for it to do. That's all I be saying. Find something that it can do. I used to play with the frisbees, right? Now, I never got out there and threw frisbees around with my bulldogs, because I didn't like how they used to jump in some of them terrible falls. You know, I've had them. Started. I seen it on TV one time, and I remember I took Buddy out. Now, Buddy, I think Buddy weighed about 48 pounds, but he was one of them red nose, but he was a stocky. He wasn't tall. He was like a little tank. And I remember I was out there throwing a frisbee, and he used to just run and wait for the frisbee to come down to jump and get it. So one day, I'm trying to get him to jump up for the frisbee, and I took it and I threw it, and I gave him such a run that when the frisbee started coming back down, he leaps and he grabs the frisbee, and he did this terrible ass fall, and I thought I had broke his leg because he came up limping. And that leg, I mean, it was something. The shoulder blade part, he had cracked something in the shoulder blade. Yeah, I took him to the vet because I didn't know where it was broke at, but it was the shoulder blade, part of his shoulder had cracked the muscle in it. And I never done that again. And I said, nope, that's it for that. So everything that I did from that point on, I'd throw a toy out there and let it hit the ground, and I would send them after it. And I speak on this to all the ones who I see out there having them do all them crazy jumpings and all that shit. Man, it is so much that can go wrong when you're out there doing that. They can ruin a dog. And I've had it happen once to me, and I never let it. It took one time for me to never want to do that again. And he was just. And I never used Buddy for nothing. He was just another one of the dogs out of the litter that I took home. Just like his daughter Piper. Just another one of the dogs that going hard dogs that I just wanted to take home. But after that day, when that happened, no, we don't do that no more. Even we be like on the flirt pole thing, we don't have them jumping around. That flirt pole is on the ground. We got them chasing around us. It ain't none of that jumping in the air, none of that. Even when we have them on a hide that's on the spring thing, that hide starts down. They don't have to jump up there and try to get it. Now we got that spring down low enough that when he jump on that bad boy and he starts pulling it and working it, that when we pulled it up, now they're off the ground. But they're only off the ground enough to where their feet, their little back feet stretched out, is barely scraping the dirt. So their fall, it wouldn't be a big fall when their jaws got tired and they wanted to come down. When they let go and wanted to come down, it was down low enough that they could jump right back up there and grab it without hurting themselves. They're not jumping 10 and 11, 12 feet up to try to grab something. See, these are all the little things that we were always trying to do to actually make competitive dogs, but in order to be competitive, we had to be able to let them just be dogs. Working dogs. Find out what they love and let them love it. Enjoy life doing what they did. Y'all know I hear people all the time talk about you got to train a pit bull to fight. I've never, ever in my whole entire life have ever trained a pit bull how to fight. Trained one? See, training to me I trained him how to sit. I trained him how to stay. I trained him how to fetch. I trained him how to attack. Those are things, that they weren't doing, I trained them to do. I've never had to train one to just let go and you automatically just, I never had to train a dog to do that. Never. So when I hear people say you train them to dog fight, I know a real bulldog, you don't have to train to do shit, really. It's gonna do it because it's a, it's a breeding thing. It's what they was bred to do. That's all I can say. You know, most people don't understand that. And if you have one that you think won't be like that, then don't be mad when you're out there running around in the park, in the dog park, and then all of a sudden a dog get up and do some stupid shit, and all of a sudden your pit bull is mauling them. I guess you didn't train your dog to do that either, did you? You know what I mean? But he did it. Why? Because he was bred to do it. You just forgot you do have a pit bull. This is what they were bred to do. You don't have to train them to do that. They're going to do that if it's in them. So I never was a fan of hearing people talk about what you can train a pit bull to do. I mean, that was not something that we train our dogs to do. Actually, we train our dogs to be more loving about what they were doing. If you were playing tug of war, you loved to play tug of war. You loved the challenge. You know, every time they seen that rope come out, they were tails us like this. That's not training the dog to fight. That's giving the dog something it loves to do. We all have these dogs. Anybody who has any type of dog, there's something your dog's going to love to do. Whether it's go chase the ball or they'll bring you they little toy that they play with and want you to play with them. All dogs have this in them. That's a dog that wants to have some fun. That's just part of being a dog, and you doing your part in making sure this dog has a good life by playing with them, doing what they love to do. That's just another way of looking at that. That's all. My thing is, love them, you know, with a purpose. Because if you're doing it for any other reason than having a purpose, then there's really no reason to have one. Because then it becomes just a dog sitting on a chain. And to me, that's just a terrible life for any animal. Sitting in a cage, running around on the chain and don't get no kind of love or nothing. We were never like that, people. Don't ever, even though we had 80 dogs at one time, we were still never like that. Never. And even after all these years later, we're still never going to be like that. That's why you get what you can handle. That you can't handle, you put it in the right person's hands. You know what I mean? But only take on what you can handle. Only take on what you're willing to give that kind of love and attention to. Because believe it, fellas, you're going to see the reward from your attention that you give these dogs. And it all starts as a puppy. Yeah. And you hear me stress that. Gentlemen, it starts when they're puppies. Because it's so much easier to start them young, have all that out the way as they get older. So now all the confidence building and all the training and the hard work starts now. Because y'all's relationship is going to allow you to take that dog to places and to do things that y'all were able to accomplish since they were puppies. It really does work like that. And that's why I felt it was necessary to have this type of show. I didn't never want to leave that out because I still hear people saying, well, what age do you do this? Or what age do you do that? And you might be new to the game. That's how I look at it. What age do you do anything? The age for me starts with the minute she have them on, the minute they come up out of her ass and they land in that puppy pen. That's the time that you start right then to make sure everything in there gets a chance to have a good life, even the mama. If you ain't paying attention to, some of these, we've had mothers that we had to actually take out of the pens because, you let them stay on that nipple too damn long. They go to biting that nipple and she don't even want to feed them no more. She'd be ready to attack their ass. Now, how would you know that if you're not really paying attention? All you're doing is you just got a bunch of puppies in the pen with the mama. For us, we actually take the mama out the pens during certain times of the day. We even get them on the schedule when they even get ready to get on her ass because even she needs a break from their asses. Good mamas clean up and they take care of everything, but even they need breaks. Don't stay knowing that shit on 24/7. Nah, we don't do that either. But that's just a whole nother story. My thing was always about the puppies. That's where anything that you want to do with an American Pit Bull starts right there. And then ask yourself, why do you have it? And hopefully you can answer why you have it, because at that point, that means you have a purpose. And with that purpose, you're going to raise and make sure that this dog has a happy home, because you're going to give that dog attention, the kind of the attention it deserves. Give a damn if you got 5 out there, but they all deserve that same type of attention. If you can't give 5 that type of attention, then break it down to 2 or 3. That's all. But all of them got to have a certain type of purpose. I always felt like even the Malinois, come on, y'all. Even my bulldog here, with my little, with Lily and Hella, they both have a purpose here. Before Hella got here, guess what? What do you think I had that little bitty dog for? Knowing I've had big dogs all my life. Knowing I got protection dogs right over there at my brother's house. Why would I have this little bitty dog here? There was a purpose. My wife wanted a little bitty dog. She's been dealing with me and my big dogs all her life. Now she wanted her a little bitty dog. Now just because she's going to have a little bitty dog, I'm cool with that. Because you just want to have a little bitty dog. But this little bitty dog going to be more than just a little bitty dog around here. And that's what I trained him to be. Trained her to be. She don't do strangers. She is my alarm. I will put it. That is my alarm. When something is out there that ain't got no business out there, somebody around the house that ain't got no business, I know I can open the door and she's going to take me right to where they at. And I'm going to be right there with her. She's a good guard dog. I wouldn't expect, come on now, I wouldn't expect her to do shit else but to do what she do. But then now she got a bigger sister now. That's all. She's trained. She's not going to go out there and just bite people off the jump. She's not an attack dog like that. I don't want her attacking people. But there was a time that she would, because she would see the little one doing it. Now you got the little one running up on you. Now people look at that little one, a different way compared to that big ass pit bull who's running out there acting like this little one. That's why you see my pit bull with a shock collar on, because I have to go through all the necessary needs to prevent her from acting like the little one, trying to bite a dog's head off. You know what I'm saying? Trying to bite a human being. I almost had a bad, here's an experience I had. Hella runs out to, her, Lily out in the front yard. Lady walks down the street. Lily runs out there. Lady kind of scared, but she don't run. She sees Hella. Hella coming in, full blast, charging, barking, and the lady steps into the street. She runs into the street. She runs from the sidewalk into the street and almost got hit by a car. Scared the shit out of me. And that was my fault. I had to break that dog from running up on people. I didn't say I broke the little dog because she still does it to this day. But that pit bull, people just look at a charging pit bull a lot different than they were looking at that little dog. Because there was a time that I did not know what hell it would do running up on a human being. Because remember I told you she bites. But I broke her of that habit, but still, she still runs up on people. But I don't worry about her biting them. I don't have to worry about her with her attack move. But even the fact that she's running up on people is why she wears that shot collar. I don't even want her running up on nobody. I want her, when you see somebody walking down the street, you stand your ass there and you stand there and look at them. Give a damn what little bit over there doing. You better not go out there. Because people are going to react different. Even though she's a good dog, she is. Actually, if I could walk up there with people, they can pet her. Where there was a time that you couldn't pet her. Remember, she's just be turning 2 years. But these are the things that I'm talking about. These are the things that I know I was aware of. These are the things that I had to stop in and do to change her life in order for her even to have a life in my house. Told you she bit my wife. She was beating up on my little dog. And then she tried to attack me. But she's a Mayday dog. So, this is not nothing unusual. This is something I have to bring under control because, again, she was young when she was doing this shit. I'm not going to have no 18, damn near 2-year-old pit bull running around my house acting like it run my house. And I'm not going to be played dumb to the dumb shit that I seen her do that I wasn't going to stop. See, that's me being responsible for my dogs. I'm addressing the shit that I see. From a puppy up, I knew she was going to be a people biter. As a puppy, you couldn't reach down and put your hands on her. She don't like to be rubbed and touched and all that, showing no lot of love. This dog don't like no love. None. The only reason she put up with me now doing it because I make her put up with me. But as soon as I stop, she'll run back and go lay on her little couch. One thing she will do, like Mo come around, she'll get up and she'll run to Mo and jump all in Mo's lap because, Mo was with her from the time she first got here. I think she wasn't even 2 weeks old. And she still remembers him. But even then, after she get that out the way, she going about her business. Because she just ain't one for all the love eating and petting her and all that other shit. Because she'll turn around and bite you because she don't play that. Don't know why she like that. I have no control over that. But I don't play like I don't know that. That's why I keep a shot collar on her because, again, I want to make sure I got control of all her bad habits. Even when I can't get to her, I can't get to her. So these are the things that raising any dog. And that's why I take my hat off to people who deal with litters. Man, I see what my brother was doing, and it just took me back to when we had a whole barn full of nuts. I remember we built every last one of them puppy pens. And they wasn't no little cheap ones either. I mean, these were the fancy ones. Up off the ground. They had the spot where they rimmed them at. And then they had that big old area where they could come out on it and we could clean up shit. And it ran down into a damn, its own drain into the little dumping thing. I mean, everything was so easy. And it was so many dogs, so many. And oh, you had a whole lot of help though. You had the kids. Oh, the 4-wheeler, yeah. We had a. I mean, come on, man. But we knew what it took to be able to do that and have to do that. And I thought I would just share that with you. But I'm gonna turn this over to Mo right quick because he don't let me talk long enough. I guess he gonna.
Dude from Georgia came in.
Uh-huh. Oh, he came in.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
Yeah, I gave it to him.
Oh my gosh! All
I
right.
gave it back more, I hate it part of it. But he came, so it was a deal.
Yeah, he did come. All right, man. Hey, y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me, showing the love. I'm gonna go be checking out the chat and everything. We'll go from there.
Everybody saw me in the chat. Yeah,
Yeah, he was in there. I didn't get a chance to see you.
y'all see, I got my gear on here. Y'all, I didn't get a chance to get ready for the show. Nothing. Yeah, my man came down, get his little champion Casanova pups. I done well for him. And can't leave a brother out there on the highway when he's trying to get you. I told him, I got a show, man. You all right out there? You know? So I wasn't going to let nobody finish that business. But I was sitting there listening and watching the show, though. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I think sitting there watching Mike, like watching the Reverend at church. You know what I'm saying? You know, like he said, he's like the, I'm the hands-on and he's like the conductor. You know how they stand there and conduct, but we don't want to be playing. Yeah, so, I would call him a conductor. And the shit that he be saying, he be dead on point, though. He dead on point. He could really literally sit down and really psychologically, put in like a playbook of the things that he experienced during the time that we was out there in a totally different viewpoint than I would, being that I'm the one always doing the handling. Our worlds and our perspectives really do go hand in hand. It's just the perception and the concept of my job and what his job was. And the way we just grew through this whole thing of watching and learning and experiencing. That when I sit here and listen to him, I be enjoying it. I really do. I was, I'm trying to deal with my man coming in, but at the same time, I didn't want to call in. So I just sat around in the chat and listened to the show, and I was really enjoying the shit they were saying. He covered a lot of bases. I mean, for those who wasn't paying attention, there's a couple of things that was really informational, gold pieces. Because a lot of that shit really does reflect for all those who raise dogs and know and really understand, like, yeah, if you've been there, you've done it, you understand. And I think that's sometimes when you hear somebody else saying shit that you do in your world of what you do, you know what I'm saying? And you can relate to another person, it's an entertaining feeling when you can put yourself in that position. And I can honestly understand that because of all the shit that I learned watching all these great dog men. And that's what they've always been to me. Because a lot of them we got to know, like, personally, like good friends, like, but it was more, I always think it was still the dogs that made that bond. and the opportunity to be able to do the things that Mike said we did, and the things that we learned along the way, and the opportunities of really being such a big part of a game wasn't trying to be. What we was trying to do was get out there and do what they was doing, since we was in there doing it. So he was really making some good points. I think one of the other things that, that I noticed, when he's talking, is that really the real hands-on, the deeper part of having the motivation to be able to get up and have that responsibility and maintain that responsibility. That's even like with me in training dogs. When I start training a dog, whether it's a dog and keep, a dog training, whether it's guard work, obedient work, whatever type of work, it takes a motivation that you have to have before you have the discipline. And when you got the real motivation with the discipline, and I'm anal, so I'm already a Marine. And for those who know how Marines are, we move shit around. We weird. We like shit perfect. You can't say all Marines is, not, you might have some sloppy Marines and shit like that. But I'm talking about the majority true, dedicated, motivated, disciplined Marines. Their objective is to be motivated to make it as much discipline as possible. And to make that happen, you have to put a system together that's going to be able to maintain the motivation and consistently have the discipline to run this system to make it work. And that's what it really, and that's on the hands-on. It's different when you're standing there looking and you know what I'm saying, and watching compared to really what you're watching. What are you watching? And that was one of the things that I really paid attention to when I went to different yards. I never really had outside my kids, and my girls, whoever I was with at the time, they would, I made dog girls out of them, because I would have them out there around the dogs with me while I went through my routine. Believe me, if they didn't have the motivation and discipline to do what I did every day, or they'd been out there with me every day that I did. It was just, they part of the life, so they got with the life. But it's just that part right there. Remember, I had to go and, I went as far as, imagine having a big ass 5-acre land and you run the lines of security lines all out through there, electric lines and everything to put up cameras and lights out there. If you want to get up early in the morning and feed them and it's dark, you can cut on lights, the whole place lit up. Just the time that I put in to have it, like the great kennels that I went to. These guys, they made it look like their motivation to be disciplined is because they made a system to do and handle that yard in a systematic way to where everything was like really perfect. And me, I got this thing about shit. I don't know what it is about shit, but I'm anal. I see shit, it's got to go. And I'm just that type of person. So I'm always making a system if I'm constantly pulling up shit, gotta have a good place to be able to do this shit and be able to do it quick. So you can maintain it quick. When I walk out in the yard, I'm walking out on the yard with my scooper. And I'm picking up any shit that I'm walking down through there with. And most of the time, it got to a point where I could actually, it's the way you feed and the time that you feed, and you do it on a schedule. you can about tell when you want to go out there and hit the yard. And when you hit the yard, and believe me, anytime after 12, that's going into the next part of because in the beginning I used to feed them twice a day. And then, the young ones would eat twice a day, the older ones would eat in the morning, but I would always go out and feed the younger ones again. I would have them on it twice a day to make sure that, they didn't get it all in the morning and just shit all day. Because young dogs would do that. No, I'm going to feed them twice, and it keeps their shit piled down. Older ones, you get them on a routine. You just come back through there when you go checking on the pups and pick up anything that's left over, because by the time you feed the pups in the evening, there's very seldom nothing out there. All the older dogs, they're ready for the next shit for the next day when they get their food. So it was just, having to go out there every day. Remember, I used to only leave water pans. I never left the food pans. So I would go through and feed all the dogs, and then go back through and pick all the food pans back up. So I never left the food pans. And then I go all the way back through, and once I did that, I would go all the way back through with my big old thing of water and give everybody, clean out the water pans and give them all new fresh water. Remember, I'm living on a property, I got my own water because I got my own big ass well. And my well and my pump, it used to take care of a 10-acre orange grove. So when I put my house out there, I tapped into that and put my own little system there using the prior system that was there. I just put a newer in there and a better one. And so it was really a good thing, because my time during that time, y'all, I had so much fun because I was motivated. I was disciplined to go out there every morning, every afternoon, every evening, worm days, testing dog shit. I mean, just to happen to do those responsibilities and being able to do it like it was a job, and was glad to do it and not slimy with it. Not, well, I'll do it next week. None of that. I was like, bam, 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 bam. And that's how I wanted to be. And being so focused like that, so when I had a dog in keep, or I was getting one ready, or doing some, building up to that point, teaching them how to run along with the four-wheeler, putting the weights on, having them run with me with the weights and all that stuff, man. I mean, I'm still doing all these things, and I'm doing it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it to the point I'm looking at progress and process in the process. And I honestly believe, and I always take my hat off to all these great kennels that I was around, that they built me to be that way by the experience that I had with them. I can tell you why they had great dogs. I can tell you why these guys won a lot of matches. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't learn it by, going in chat rooms and watching podcasts like you guys got it now. I learned it by having the opportunity to be standing there with these guys right there to see it all. And like I said, sports guys treated me good in there. And that discipline and motivation to want to beat them, because it had to feel good. That's what I always kept saying. Ever since I met Atlas and them and got into that warrior thing, keeping that military thought, and then keep in mind I'm a dog trainer, and I expect my dogs, when they attack. You do not want to get hit by my shit. And I put whole hard work to make sure that you do not want to get hit by my shit. So just think that, with the discipline that I had in just the dog training, and my understanding of training a dog, the dog got to first have the ability to do what he's going to get trained to do. And one thing he ain't getting trained to do, he ain't getting trained to have that hunt and that ability to hit shit. He got to already have that. Everything else I can work with, but he has to have that, get in there, in regards of what this human being is going to do to you, you going to be on that ass. Because, attack dogs corral just like pit bulls. Shit, I've seen many police dogs. I mean, I would put my dogs against any police dog. One, because he's being trained by a Marine. And that goes a long way. Because there's just certain things about the mentality of a Marine that you can't help but put that mentality into a dog. I mean, you're the trainer. And the expectations that we set forth, if they can accomplish those expectations, believe me, he's a badass dog. And I have badass dogs that I train. And I felt the same way in the dog game, because the way I was learning it and what I was seeing, it kind of helped me out with what I already knew as far as a dog trainer. The mentality and the level was almost the same, but I had more fun watching the warriors collide. It's not every day you get a chance to go put your dog on a human being. We put on bodysuits, we put on sleeves and shit like that, but no, I ain't talking about that. No, when you got an attack dog that fights humans, yes, we do put them on those type of things for protection. You ain't gonna be out here having no damn dogs jumping on them, fighting them without the protection. The only way you'll ever get is like using a gun. You can walk around and have that gun until the day that you use it, you just still walking around with it. And at that point that you do use it, that's the problem. It's the same way with a dog. You better have your head on straight, because you go to jail with a dog just like you go to jail with a gun. Believe that. You're going to have problems.
Motion detected at the home front.
But at the same time, knowing that and then taking that same... No, it was a motion detected at the front. At the same time, you look at it and you go into the dog world and see these warriors. And you see these badass dogs and wondering, everybody can't get this kind of shit. That was one thing. That was one thing that I noticed. You know what I'm saying? I thought, when I first met James and them, and they was talking about this, I didn't really think all pit bulls was great dogs, because I knew in my world of training with Doberman Shepherds and Rottweilers, they all ain't what I would want. I wanted special kind of dogs. So the same thing went with pits. So I definitely understood that understanding. But there was one thing that they all seem to have in common. And these are the majority of the ones that I was running into. They all fought. In that world that I was running around in the learning, I noticed that they all fought. Fighting didn't mean shit. Because most pit bulls will fight. I mean, around and where in the world that I was running around in, said most, because that was that world. I'm not talking about the ones that's cold and all that. I'm talking about you moving around in the basement and you notice that, everybody got a bunch of pit bulls. Everybody got pit bulls. Everybody. Everybody got a bad motherfucker too. Everybody. But that's what set the difference is when I started realizing, yeah, that's one thing you right about. Everybody got a good dog to them. They got to believe that if they're getting up feeding it every day. You know what I'm saying? But that's where the matching dogs got so much respect for me. Regardless of who's on the other side. You know, we talk about the guys that try to find an easier route. But then, you know, I always say the best way to play that game is to do what Justice did. You know, you want to be standing there with the scale, but they got the blindfold on. And let the balance be in the truth, be in that balance of what's going on here, not on what you see. That's what the point that I had when it came down to looking at great dogs and then the fact that everybody got dogs. You know, and I really start understanding the change space piece of that. Remember, I got a chance to walk on many great yards, but the greatest yard I've ever been on, to me, the greatest yard I've ever been on, I would still have to say was Windy City Combine. Windy City Combine was the greatest yard. I've seen all the great dogs. All of them. I was out there snowing like a motherfucker, y'all, but I'm out there with that camera. I'm getting my pictures with Crazy Tippy, Miss Tippy, whatever her name was, pictures like that, man. Reno. I'm telling you, I seen them all. I mean, I had pictures. I mean, when I say I had pictures, y'all, I had pictures of man's whole yard. Cold outside, but it was like it was summer. And he just let me run around his yard like, you know, I've been around with shows with him, so it's not like he didn't know to see us, but, you know, it was when I saw Twisted going to that Beetlejuice dog, I was interested. He was a son off of Beetlejuice. I saw Champion Twisted beat him, but Twisted beat a badass dog, and it would take a Mayday dog to beat those type of dogs. And he was the perfect dog to beat that type of dog. You know, that's what I liked about the Mayday shit. You know, it's not the fact that Mayday was just a great dog. It was the fact that, you know, when you were out here, just imagine all the people who had those champions off of Mayday. Because Victor didn't have none of them. None of them. All them champions of them Mayday did not come out. You know, they might have came from Victor, sold by Victor, but Victor did not make none of them great dogs champions. Not a one. So imagine the people that had those type of dogs. Imagine what type of dog that these different people had to have to be able to do what they was doing to make that one dog, the daddy of them great, him great. That's that part I'm talking about, y'all, when I start saying, you know, what are you feeding? Because all these motherfuckers are fighting. And all these dogs is bad as hell when you got to feed them. You might have your favorite ones. You might be like, well, this is all right. I ain't going to do nothing but breed that one. This one right here is bred like this. But you got that ones that you know you going to be like, but these right here, these creams of the crop. You know, you really don't even want to talk about the rest of them. Everybody got them type of dogs on their yard. You know what I'm talking about, because you feed them. But just imagine what it takes, you know, and that's why you see guys that's got good dogs, they be coming back. They just don't have, they don't be no one-hit wonders. How many times have we went in the journals, y'all, was going through the journals, and you seen them same old people. You know who the real bulldog is. You see them on there. You're going to see them and see them and see them and see them. Because them is the ones that's really out there getting it in. Remember, it still takes motivation and discipline to go out there and get it done. Just to have that one moment When you got somebody on the other side and it's game day, it's nothing. It's man. It's the feeling, man. It's the rush. It's the competing. And imagine those yards that they got good shit. You know, their whole concept, why they got all these great dogs. Why they got all these good dogs. We see them in the journal. We see them winning. How are they able to do this? You know? How are they able, because this is what they doing. And let's just check reality about the discipline and the motivation. You literally have to be disciplined and motivated to have a yard that you can go out there and win with the yard. Not just the dog, the yard. That's what they were doing. I'm not talking about, like Victor, he bought Mayday. He raised Mayday, Dragon Lady. He bred Mayday. He matched Mayday, Dragon Lady, Choice. All them badass dogs. So just imagine to have such a dog. Been getting your ass kicked, learning the game the whole time until that Mayday shit. You wouldn't even know who Victor Acart was when he was the Latin Boys. You know what I'm saying? LBK. You wouldn't even, he was part of them, but, quiet as kept. But when he changed up and had the opportunity to have the right dogs, now look at his discipline and motivation. He had that opportunity to run, and run big he did. But he's not the only one. Remember, none of them dogs Victor shit. Victor might have produced them. They might have been off of Mayday, but none of them a Southern Kennels dog. He got his run off with Choice, Dragon Lady, and Mayday. Everybody else became, with the Mayday dogs. So this thing, this is what they feed. This is what is being put out there to be fed. Now, I hear everybody always talking about Chico. I mean, man, I ain't knocking Chico because Chico come from the school, come from New York down to Texas, and then, got out there and really made a name for herself. But, using the evolution handbook. So, and I'm always going to change, not say I had anything about what evolution, chosen few, D-Town, whatever they want to call themselves. They can say they weren't matching dogs. I'm just saying, to be in Texas with the great kennels that was down in Texas, you could have found out a lot more about those dogs if you would have been hanging around doing the real thing in Texas. So what Texas was doing, they wasn't doing. So I don't give a fuck how y'all like me hearing me say that. I'm just keeping it real with you because that's what it was like. And same thing for Chico. But none of Chico's champions in the United States. So y'all can cancel that Chico shit. I'm sorry. And the only stories we're going to get out of Mexico is his story. And, anybody can prove me different, then you do so. But what we looking at, we're going to see a lot of Chico Lopez's dogs in there, but they're not really Chico's dogs. He didn't produce that shit, not the great ones. He did not produce Nacho Buck. He didn't do none of that. But yes, he did sell dogs, and he did have a story. But again, it's an evolution playbook. It was all down in Texas, down there with Dead Serious, down there with the Plowboys, down in there with all them badass dog Wall Boys, Thunder Kennels. I mean, you got all those Highlanders down there. Big Thicket. But you can't bump into nobody. and all these different names, but you got all these great dogs. I mean, for newcomers that don't know the situation, good. It really looks good. It really looks promising. But there was never Stone City. There was never Hawk. Chico could never be those guys. Never. He's using their dogs, but he could never. Y'all making him greater than them, and that could never happen. Not coming from an old school dog man who knows how he did it. I showed you every one of them champions that he was claiming was dog of the year, this dog of the year, that. Come on, guys. This his story. None of this shit's going on in the United States. So stop throwing Chico Lopez's name around. He had a good game, and he played it very well. And I ain't hating. I'm just saying, pay closer attention, you'll see that I'm not lying, because I don't have to. You'll find the truth out there. Everything I tell you is true. So you can, I hear him comparing them to STP, and y'all overriding the fact that these were Stone City Mayday dogs. The evolution didn't build that shit. And they didn't really become great dogs either. They would become, they was grand champions, but it would have been nice to see them going into, like I said, the kennels that you hear me naming, you were sitting right down in there with them. Why didn't you go be the banjo dog? Why didn't you go be the big thicket dog? Why don't you go be a Thunder Kennels dog? Why don't you go out there and be a Plowboy dog? Why don't you go out there and be a Wallboy dog? Why don't you go be Triple M and them dogs? This is what great dogs, this is what dogs that we had off of Mayday was doing. They wasn't doing that. This is what Stone City and them was doing with they dogs. This is what Hardcore and them was doing with they dogs. I could just keep on naming them. This is what they was doing. These Chico and Evolution in them was not nowhere close to that level. I'm sorry. It was more of a commercial. And one thing about it, it doesn't hurt the game. It kind of helps the game. Because in that process, they are making good breeding with the dogs that they got. It's not the dog's fault. It's not the dog's fault that they're getting built on a different pedestal than the dogs that they come from. So you don't take that part away. That's the most important part. And if it can do anything, that's the key. It's never going to be the dog, because a dog is going to be a good dog if the owner ain't shit. And if anything's going to ride the pony, it's going to usually be the dog that's carrying you. But again, it's not, you're going to find Chico's name in a lot of pedigrees, but in the great ones that he's in, Chico, then he had the dogs, but some of those dogs, he got the dogs because he purchased them. And making good breedings with good dogs, you're going to have good dogs. But I've seen too many great ones that did not, motivate anybody in the United States. We don't have no Mayday at the 2024. We don't have no Jeep in the 2024. We don't have no Yellow in the 2024. We don't have a Tudor's Dabo type dog in 2024. You know what I'm saying? And if he's out there, and he probably is, we don't know him. And based on the stories coming from overseas, them was overseas stories. And there's a story coming back from over here is usually being told by one person. And it's their story. And you tell enough people, they might start believing you and falling into that trap, because that's exactly what happens. They become something that they're not. But those are points of their motivation is in selling dogs. for the truth of it. The motivation is that of selling dogs. They can't afford to lose. You see what I'm saying? They got to keep it in a winning aspect. You know? And you can't knock it because ain't nobody saying they cheated. I just think in the long run, the progress shows you that, like I said, we ain't got none of them dogs in 2024. Probably have great dogs in 2024. But we don't have those type of dogs where, you know, you go and you hear the government. You know, I've been paying attention to a lot of these things the government is doing when they building these dog fighting cases. They giving down their educational classes on how the world of dog fighting is. They're using dogs like Jeep. They're using dogs like Mayday. They ain't using nothing of 2024. See, and that's, to me, that part right there, to me, is the weakness in their cases. Because you're saying dogs' names that go as far back as 30, 40 years. And you're talking about bloodlines of these dogs, like these dogs still exist. They don't never get into the watered down part of this shit. They make it look like they're still having Jeep dogs. They still using Mayday blood that's doing what these dogs were doing. So they making it look the part. When a lot of these dogs aren't those dogs. They're not. You know? But it's the way they use the old to make the new look worse. Like, they've been doing this a long time. So by the time he get to you, you know, they done piled all that shit up from back there all on you. And it doesn't make the cases look good because it's the way they putting it out there and the way they saying it. And with the education, it's like somebody educating you and you already being educated on some shit. And the only reason you're being educated is because it's some fucked up shit coming from the police trying to educate somebody to know why they doing this. So if you get to knowing this and seeing this shit, you be like, this is how they're able to make cases of cases when they don't have a case. Because it's easier for them to make a case and don't have a case. Dogs is on real heavy chains, long ass chain. Now they're going to educate you. 45-pound dog on an 80-pound, 10-foot chain running around in a barrel. Making it sound like it was something terrible. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing the reason why this damn dog is on this big ass chain. You know, they don't even want to give us credit for understanding our dog enough to know he needs to be on that chain. And then they want to know why you got him on such a chain. And then what you gonna say? You know, because I don't want him to get off. Well, you know, he'll get off and kill someone. Why you got that kind of dog? See, this is where you talk too much. See, when you start talking about it, that's when you start fucking up. Because you got a right to remain silent. Because anything you say, they will use against you. And anything you didn't say, they're going to say you did. So it's best not to talk to them. I mean, to me, I have lost all confidence in them. You know, they just, the way they did me in 2008, and then over something almost a couple of years later, and then even when I'm dealing with them like right now in a way over some the Malleys, and you know, and They don't understand. I got to go deal with the court. But the reason why I got to go deal with the court, because this is why I always tell y'all keep your cameras on. Because see, if you're going to write me a bunch of tickets after I'm in compliance, because you don't know that I'm out of compliance to even give me any tickets. So why, when you come back, you want to give me some tickets when you didn't give me those tickets when you didn't know if I was right or wrong? But because you went there and I didn't change everything, now ain't nobody there because you don't know and I ain't trying to deal with this shit. Then you want to write me up. Okay. Then you want to come back 2 or 3 days later, just keep coming back to talk to me about what? And I ain't talking to nobody. You done wrote your tickets. I'm going to have to deal with y'all when I go to court because y'all going to have to explain that shit. You know, I'm looking on the news at them and they hound dogs, the people who they train the hound dog for the sheriff, and my dogs live better than them. This law that they using with the shelter law, how you keep a dog, and I'm looking at they shit and be like, now that was my yard. If there was a walk up on my yard and my yard looked like that, would they say something to me? Yes, they would. Yes, they would. Because the way I keep my dogs is better than what they got. So I know they would have something to say just because. You see, I don't answer questions no more. See, I've been through that part with them. I don't answer questions. You ain't the police. I can come outside and stop you right in my front yard and don't got to answer a goddamn thing. And unless you got a warrant to walk in that backyard, I would advise you, well, we got a complaint that this, or we got a call about this or all that. Well, guess what? If you take your Fifth Amendment right and say you have a right to remain silent and say it right then and there, Said, if there's any questions, if I have to get a lawyer, I get a lawyer, but I'm not answering no questions. You know what I'm saying? And turn around and walk away. You'll see how the system works. You already know they're playing dirty anyway. But I guarantee you, if you do it that way right there, you'll find out they can't do shit. You get mad at you. And hope like hell you like me, you have your shit in order where you ain't got to worry about that shit anyway. I'm got my shit in order and I'm still got to worry about it and deal with it. But when it's right, it's right. And, my biggest argument, why you think they came them other 2 days after those tickets? They either want to ask more questions or they want to try to figure a way out where I'm coming at their ass with when I go to deal with those tickets. You talk to me, I might have been able to get rid of them. But why? I didn't catch your asses so fucked up this time. Give me the body camera to visit. That's all I want. Give me the body cam. You said you got your body cam on, then get that body cam in here. Let's go to court. And they're going to hate me. I already done this before. But they just ain't, all these years later, they want to try it again. But that just show you, y'all. If they can do that to me, damn near, almost 20 years later, come at me with the same old bullshit, I'm thinking that shit gonna walk through court because they think I'm not gonna fight it, like I got something to fear because they act like they're the police when you ain't the police. You don't come knocking on my door thinking I'm gonna come answer that motherfucker and talk to you. You stand there all day and knock on that motherfucker. Fuck you. You see what I'm saying? You done wrote your shit. You shouldn't have nothing else to say to me. Let's go deal with what you just did. If they don't understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, then that's their fault. We'll see when I get to court. But if y'all don't have your shit down, you can't be that way. And if you ain't got your shit down, then you better be every way that way and more, because it's better to keep them on the street and not say a word than let them get back there and make shit that ain't even there happen. Now you got to explain shit. You feeling like you being cheated and railroaded. Because all you had to do to stop that shit is stop it at the front yard. Don't let him get past the front door. And don't stand there and answer any question. Well, we got this call. Well, so what am I supposed to do? We just wanted to come and check. Well, guess what? I have a right to remain silent. And then I said, can and show you and say to you may and can be used against me. So I'm going to take my right to remain quiet. I'm not going to answer any questions. You know, you can't come on my yard and see shit. No, it's different when you got the goddamn DEA and FBI kicking in your door and you got a bunch of yard full of dogs. Okay, there's not going to need be none of that. You know the warrant's already been served. But anything in plain view they gonna pick with. You know, in drugs they tearing up shit. So they gonna anything that they consider in plain view is something they might have turned over and found looking for the dope. It became plain view once they turned it over looking for the dope. So. You know, it just gets worse. So if you ain't selling dope and you got dogs, don't worry about the dope. And then think about it like that. Nobody ever got to get to see your yard. They can call the police, and what the police gonna do? Dog catcher call the police. Hey, we got a complaint. We need to see it. Well, the man had already made himself clear that you want to see it. You get a warrant. So what you gonna go down there trying to get a warrant? You know, go get a warrant on a what? You didn't get past the front porch. You didn't get the first kind of question or anything out of them. See, you got to get the balls to be able to stand there and tell them that. Even if it pisses them off, keep your shit tight. Close all avenues to where your shit is. And if you can't close it, you better start moving because they're going to play fucked up. I don't care what state you live in. Pit bulls, bullies, color. Y'all better wake up. You know, they say it ain't no prejudice thing. Bullshit. If you Latino and you black and you got pit bulls, you got a problem. And they banking on the fact that I guess I'm black. I already had a run-in with the dogs. I got Malinois now, you know, and was weaning some puppies for a person who couldn't even keep his dog because he's out of town. So I weaned some puppies. How am I going to make sure a damn dog that's pregnant, y'all? Pregnant. I ain't even had 14 days. Bitch fly to Georgia. How am I supposed to have some rabies shots? Bitch just got here. And she pregnant. I don't know if the bitch had a rabies shot. She ain't my dog. I'm here to wean some puppies for this guy. Transporter couldn't get him home fast enough. He didn't want the puppies and he was going to be out of town. He had an emergency. Hey, man asked me to do him a favor. I don't even know who the guy is. Guy bought my friend knew him. And he knew the right person to bring, so he came to me and asked me to do him a favor. Now, how you gonna write me some tickets about the pregnant bitch not having rabies shot? How am I supposed to know? And if I wanted to come in compliance, how can I come in compliance with a pregnant dog full of puppies? Number two, the bitch ain't even been on this yard 2 weeks. Dog ain't even my dog. I'm responsible for the dog. But the dog ain't my dog to know all that shit. The dog is from Georgia and she come pregnant. So there's nothing I can do with the dog anyway. I would assume she got it. But even if she didn't have it, we can't do nothing about it now. Even after she had the puppies. And guess what? The bitch ain't going to be here that long. The bitch ain't going to be here 30 days. So I think by law, I ain't required to do none of that shit. If you want to charge me for the dog not having rabies, guess what? The dog wasn't even here 30 days for me to be concerned. So, and it wasn't even my damn dog. And the dog was pregnant. So you mean you couldn't even discuss a compliance to do anything. So to write me a ticket for that, man, you know what I'm saying? Come on now, y'all. I can't let that shit fly. Over some Malinois. You know, and I'm telling you all this is because don't think it won't happen to you. You got neighbors, you got people to walk down the damn street. You don't know where these phone calls come from to send these people to you. It could be the goddamn podcast. Got them coming to me to check me out. You know what I'm saying? All they gonna see is a bunch of man eaters. That's all. And they young. That's it. I'm feeding down there, 14 puppies. 14 puppies. Looking good. Made it done as a motivated, dedicated way of doing it. You know, I put that time, you know, when you doing certain things, man, and I told y'all how I'm about shit. I'm gonna take some pictures of my cages, my puppy cages. And how we raise puppies around here on Going Hard Kennels. You know, can I show them mine? And I'm gonna show y'all some shit. And for those who live in Florida, I hope all y'all be here on this show to see this. And I'm going to bring the citation. Open case. It's a civil case. But it's a case, y'all, that's going to show y'all how these people will try you. And I don't see nothing wrong with it. It's my case. You know? But I'm going to, it might give them something. They might look at it and be like, you know, the body cam is the story. You know, that's going to probably shake them up because the body cam is going to be my best witness. I won't even have to say nothing if they let y'all walk around with these cameras. You're always telling us you got your body cam on. Now, don't go losing the body cam when it comes to me wanting the body cam for my case. You know what I'm saying, man? Or she all of a sudden now you didn't have the body cam on. Now you know my whole yard is cammed up anyway. I'm cammed up anyway, so trying to make it disappear ain't gonna help. But it would be a whole lot better when we can use your body cam and watch me and your activity the day that you came by my house talking about the confinement of my puppies. This is one, y'all, that we gonna I'll be glad to show you. I know it's an open case, but it's a citation case. It's a citation case to the point, if you're going to go that far for some citations, imagine if they would have got a breaking stick or a treadmill. I got melon walls. I'm sick. I can have a treadmill and have my dog run on a treadmill, can I? I sure ain't got no pitch running around here. You see what I'm saying? What they going to say? Knowing I used to be a dog fighter, but I got melon wall and a treadmill. What they gonna do? They gonna act a damn fool. They gonna act a fool. No, man, don't trust me, man. They gonna act a fool. You know what I'm saying? Imagine me with a breaking stick. Why would he need a breaking stick? I know he's still fighting dogs. He had a breaking stick. But they gonna say, they won't take not one picture of all them goddamn pads we use, our attack sleeve, our attack arms. We have like rubber arms that we use. We just don't keep on using that other shit. We'll put some real arm out there. We have full body suits with helmets. Because, you know, we fight with our dogs. You know, we practice whooping ass with them leashes. I'll show y'all some shit that, you know, y'all be like, damn, I ain't never thought about that shit. Yeah, that's tactical shit that we do. But they won't take a picture of none of that. They ain't gonna take a picture of a shot collar. They just gonna take a picture of the treadmill and the breaking stick. That's the only pictures they gonna want to use. They ain't gonna take no other picture of anything else. And then they're going to take that shit down there And I ain't got to have nothing but Malinois, and they going to still try to make me a dog fighter. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is the world that we live in. Even in 2008, they played it. But y'all is in 2024. And they still trying me in 2024. So imagine what they are doing to y'all. While y'all out here Facebooking it up. They out here got alphabets. They done came up with government alphabets specifically for going in here. First, they always infiltrate the innocent. See, that's how they get to the dark side. They always infiltrate the innocent. They put the innocent into a position because, ain't a dog man out there that ain't doing their dogs that don't know a true dog fighter. We on the Going Hard Kennels show, and I'm going to keep it real with you. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. You brag about the shit enough. The puppies ain't shit unless you are talking about somebody that's got some real shit. So keep it real. But you're totally innocent. You see what I'm saying? You really ain't doing nothing but selling dogs and doing a whole lot of fictional lying. But they'll start off with you. Because they know damn well you know some real shit. You got your treadmills, you got your goddamn breaking stick. You got a screwdriver, could be there to stab the dog when he quit. All kind of shit start coming out the woodwork. Because you're the innocent one with the equipment and the dogs. And when they get done with you, they're going to make you one of them baddest dog men in their area. And you're going to have to fight for your rights with your dogs gone. Ain't done shit. Your dogs is gone, and you going to court, and you feeling like you've been fucked over. It don't mean a damn thing, because you still going to be having to deal with it. And especially if you can't go back in there and hit rewind and see that you was doing something right. And something to give some blowback on the way they did it. 99% of the time, they ain't coming right, and they ain't going to do it right. Not like getting caught with dogs and drugs. I'm talking about guys that they're targeting. They're targeting. You got pit bulls in your yard. And all it takes is that, they always come with that, oh, we got a phone call. Oh, we got an anonymous call. That this and this and this and that. And we doing a welfare check. Well, the welfare check, you can stop that at the front door. You stop that at the front yard. This is the welfare check. They're all right. I have a right to remain silent, right? Right now, I ain't done nothing wrong, so I ain't got to tell you my name. So I'm going to take the fifth. I'm going back in the house. They're all right, though. And let it be that. That's it. What they going to say? Stand there and try to talk to them. I'll take care of it. I die. They going to go through this whole routine. So why you got so many dogs? What do you do with these dogs? Why you got that big chain on that dog? Wow, you got that kind of dog. You got to put such a chain on there. What's the purpose of having that dog? See, this is what I'm talking about. And they start off with the innocent because the innocent ain't done nothing wrong, so they're going to talk their way into some shit. The way you going to be like, we know you know some real dog. You got all the shit here to do it. We know. Come give me somebody. Give me somebody. We taking all this shit. And who out there don't know about snitches? Who all out here know that there's some people that just ain't going to go to jail for, you know what I'm saying, for being innocent. They ain't going to do it. And that's exactly what they try to do. They try to take the innocent, get them all fucked up, for them to give them somebody dirty. Well, we just want to know some of the people you know in the dogs. You got all them questions, but if you ain't never answered the question, guess what? They don't ask you shit. They try to come in with the police when they come to deal with me. I had a police and everybody stand on the sidewalk. I didn't know why you called them. They be looking at the goddamn dog. I mean, like, they be wondering why you called us, too. Why are we here? Man don't want to talk. He ain't got to talk to you. Man say he don't want you on the property. We don't see no dog out here. We don't see shit. If he got him, he got him. This is a civil matter. We don't get involved in that shit. You got a right to do shit. You got a search warrant, you ain't got to ask me. You got some questions for me? Remember that part right there. I have a right to remain silent. That means from square one, we take that right and make sure that they got their camera on. Hey, that thing work? Tap at it. Hey, just make sure the tap it come on. I didn't mean to touch it. I just wanted to make sure it worked. Make sure it's on. Mine came right up to me and told me, hey, I got my body camera on. Okay, now when I go to ask them for that body camera for evidence, I'm going to make damn sure. You better not say that, well, no. You know what I'm saying? Money.
Yeah, you remember you told him, you see these cameras out here.
I said, don't even matter because you see these cameras out here, you on the camera anyway. So, she can't keep it out. Because what happened that day, people, what happened that day, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to bring it out and I'm going to show you what happened that day. Okay, and it's going to be, I want to make it part of the show to show you how aware and beware y'all must be. Because, I got, what was it? Bunch of them. For her to write up them tickets, you know what I'm saying? That was like, what, 20 tickets? And all the puppies was in proper confinement. All the puppies were in proper confinement, including the two pit pups and the mama. And the mama, she didn't have a registration. Well, bitch, I don't understand why you think this bitch supposed to have one. You know what I mean? She don't even live in Hillsborough County. That's one. Number two, I don't know nothing about her rabies shots. You know what I mean? And why should I worry about it, man? I can't give her none anyway. She didn't. And she ain't my dog, and she sure ain't gonna be here over 30 days. So it's not really was never an issue with me to worry about none of that. And there shouldn't be one with them based on what the law say. But guess what? It's on the ticket, so we're gonna deal with it. Just want to make sure we got that body cam on, because all that happened after the fact. But once I tell you the story and I show you, I'm gonna put out where how the puppies were staying, and this is what they walked up on, and just imagine this, y'all. This is your yard. This is what's going on, and they doing it on your yard, and I ain't even got no pits. I had the one little pit female that she had the two Casanova puppies in. That was it. All the rest of these is mountain walls. She didn't even have to deal with chaos and mayhem. They was in the house with the other 6 puppies. There was 6 more puppies they didn't even know was in the house. It was 8 outside and 6 inside, plus chaos and mayhem. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of dogs, but it's the way I teach my shit. The way I teach my shit, that motivated, dedicated, that shit right there, man, to make your job, knowing that this is what you got to do, and you want to do it and feel good about doing it, and set it up to be that way. Sometimes it takes a little money to make it that way, but it makes the job easy, and it makes it motivating, and it keeps me dedicated to keeping it done the right way. And that's why they could never catch me doing it the wrong way, because I was always doing it the right way. Just like this shit here. Don't know how this shit gonna fly. All of a sudden, it got down, YouTube start acting up, phones start acting up, Alexa don't even want to answer the damn phone no more. All after this shit here. So, maybe they didn't put me back on the radar. I don't want to disappoint them, though. I got witnesses, though. I got witnesses in a whole bunch of videos that they can spend time watching. You know what I'm saying? But keep in mind, when we go through this shit that I'm going to show you how they tried to play me, this can be you. With all the shit that's been going on out here in this world of dogs. And you know, a lot of us don't like talking about guys that have picked up cases. Well, you need to. You need to. Because maybe somebody out there said something about me to them to make them want to come see. And just so happen to run into Malin walls instead of pits. Ran into a little female with 2 little puppies. But where's the real shit at? You ain't got none of that real shit around here? You know what I'm saying? You know? I mean, come on, y'all. Once we do this right here, fellas, y'all better hurry up and get your cameras. Because the game, if you ain't selling drugs, you ain't doing nothing illegal, trust me, if you have a pit bull, you have a treadmill, you have a breaking stick, and you don't have water in a place that at any given time that they can walk up on your yard, and you ain't got all your dogs registered, you don't have evidence of rabies vaccinations by a vet for those in the states that require that your vet give your dog rabies shots, or you ain't registered with the county, look, I'll take a registered with the county ticket any day. Fuck the county. I got my rabies done by a vet. I just ain't registered with your ass. You know, I'll pay that little shit and give me a damn tag. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't like corroding over my yard and saying the dogs is on big ass chains and anybody didn't have no water. They in barrels. Or they wasn't confined right. All over a rabies shot. You see what I'm saying? And you could have stopped this shit at the front yard by doing what I told you to do. You wouldn't have to go through none of that if you stopped their ass at the front yard, because they ain't the police. And even if they go get the police, don't mean shit. It ain't nobody standing here with a warrant. And the best thing to do is before it get escalated, just how you de-escalate it. You respect my rights, and I have a right to remain silent. That means I'm not answering no questions. I'm not even telling you my name. If you know who I am, you see this address, yes, my dogs is okay, there's your welfare check. I'm going back in the house. Bam! Shut the door. And stay in there until they leave. They want to stand out there all night and come back there and knock on the door a couple more times. Don't answer it. Because you ain't got to. You don't got to. And if they help themselves and just take off and go walk on down there and go help themselves to go see what your shit looking like, if you got a camera, be glad that they doing that. Because how many times they knocked on the door, you already explained to them your rights, and they still went right down through there, and that one person gave you a warrant to say they could do that. Because you sure as hell didn't give them permission. Just make sure you got it on camera when they do it. You got to have them on camera when they do it. Because whatever the hell they find back there, goddamn it, ain't going to mean a thing, because one, they weren't invited. Two, I don't care nothing about that welfare check shit, because if you want to find out, you really are supposed to go get a warrant. Who told you what was going on? You need to still get a warrant. You ain't the police. You get the necessary papers where you ain't got to ask me. If you asking me now, I'm going to tell you they're all right. I'm going to leave it like that. If you guys ain't really willing to deal with it like that, and stop talking to these people. Because when you talk to them, they're going to remember you. They're going to put you on a radar. They're going to put you on the radar. If you don't, if they don't get nowhere with you, they're going to leave you alone. They're going to hate your ass, but they're going to leave you alone because they know what they're going to be dealing with when they get there. Nothing. They ain't going to get nowhere. And as long as you keep it that way and protect yourself that way, you'll never have to worry about shit getting that way.
You want to go back to when they talk about these boys in these RICO cases.
Oh, they turning this dog fighting shit into organized crime shit. You know, they talking about lockup money and, you know, gambling at the pit. They running the whole, they giving an editorial class on the breakdown and everything where they can add RICO charges, conspiracy charges, gambling charges. I mean, they is reaching. You on here talking on the phone to somebody, knowing who the hell you talking to. And the whole time, you know, there's brothers out there, man, who's showing up on paper, man, from talking to somebody and didn't even know they was being taped. I mean, they putting comments on some shit about what somebody else talking about, and they ain't even talking about nothing illegal. Yet, this person pops up in some papers because of another motherfucker who's being taped, and they making him look like he's part of this shit. And what they were talking about was nothing compared to what these dudes was talking about. But they took the shit and they threw it in there with all that other fucked up shit. So you know that little shit that you was talking about that didn't really have nothing to do with it, really didn't have nothing to do with it. It was enough for them to make it look like you had something to do with it because they put your name in the motherfucker. Got your name all up in the shit. So you see what I'm saying? You wasn't saying nothing. But because of all this other shit that they got tied up in that shit, man, what you wasn't saying, man, don't mean shit. Because they going to try to play it like everybody was doing it. You too. Y'all have to understand, is it really worth y'all playing with this shit? Underground, you already know. It's gridiron. These are people who I wouldn't give a damn. Y'all just going to have to get mad, Popo. Because they've been doing this shit for years. Hey, I done it when it was illegal. And there was a whole lot of great kennels that came up when I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and we done with that shit. But guess what? You know, the war's on. I guess there can't be a war without somebody to fight with. So let it be the war on. But that's something that's been around as long as they brought that shit into the country. You know what I'm saying? It's like dope. I don't think you're going to ever get rid of all the true dog fighters because there's generations of these motherfuckers. There's going to always be a generation of them. You know, they might get low. It might damn near get extinct. But it will always be a generation of dog fighting. Period. You know, it's just no way. They haven't been able to stop it. They've been busting people and killing dogs for years. Down there, probably over 10,000 great dogs being killed in the last 20 years. That they done took off the yards and just put down. You know what I'm saying? And are they going to ever put an end to it?
Hell no.
How?
They can't even stop cracking fentanyl.
Right. They ain't. Look, there's more fentanyl and meth and cocaine coming through here. You know, you need to add a couple more of them alphabets off the pits and start putting them over there with that shit. Because the shit that they doing with the pits is like a target game. And it's not necessarily, look, as an old dog fighter that I've been around, a lot of dog men that, you know, they had secondary lives. You know, you can't have two wrongs in a place, you know what I'm saying, and trying to do right. And what that means is I'm doing something wrong already, but at least let me do what I'm doing wrong and do it right. And selling drugs and involving it with the dog fighting world is, you know, when you're doing it, you think it's right because of the money and the hustle. But that's the money and the hustle. You know how the rules go with that. It is right because it's what we risk in our life to do. But in many cases, man, when we doing it that way, you got other people that's doing it but one way, and they're trying to do it that part the right way. And those people right there get fucked up. They get fucked up and fuck with people like you that want to do it your way, the right way. You know, you want to be a drug dealer, you want to fight your dogs, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you feel like you're doing it the right way. But when you're doing that and you bringing that traffic into a place that's, you know, that he's just doing his dogs and he's doing it the right way. You just made his world the wrong because you get him caught up. And it's happening a lot out here. It's happening because you guys are letting people into these damn chat rooms and these private chats and, playing your damn videos. I don't know where the fuck y'all get this video shit from, but you better stop playing with these damn videos. You don't want to be playing with no videos. You got videos on your phone, you better be getting that shit off. And if you can't get it off your phone, throw away the phone. Because that's another thing that this young generation, y'all video popos, y'all video every damn thing, but you don't be videoing dog fights. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? And anybody, and this is for the basement, anybody that wants to run around there and pull a phone up and videotape anything, we can give a damn if it's a roll or whatever the hell. You better be putting on some Mickey Mouse mask or act like it's COVID. Because that is foolish. People getting jammed up. People are getting jammed up from videos in people's phones. Or people recording matches and roles and having shit like that in their phones. I had a training video on my camera, and they made it a dog fighting video. Did they not? My video was a training video showing the dude that a tired dog, regardless of pit bull or not, I showed him that I could tell you I could stop his dog from being aggressive to another dog. That's what that video was. But that video got me found guilty of animal baiting. Something we see on videos all the time.
Even in movies.
Yeah, even in movies. Yeah, he's right. Even in movies. But that was the only charge, as far as the dog fighting charge, was the baiting charge. No, not having a dog chasing something on a treadmill. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. All you got is a tired dog, and me showing this dog ain't trying to fight or hit this other dog. That's it. That's it. You can tell I'm not trying to fight the dog, or the jury would have found me guilty of all the dog fighting charges. But the thing is, being I didn't put up a defense to really break down. I had it there, I just didn't use it. Showing that if you want to train a dog or teach a dog how not to be so aggressive, especially if you got an animal aggressive dog, put a heavy weight on their ass, get them out there, run them around, let them play, tire them out. You'll see. A tired dog is not as aggressive as he was when he's not tired. And that's the way you direct it. You wait until he's tired, and then you bring another dog around. He'd be more perceptive if you continue doing that. He won't get excited even when he ain't tired. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the video was establishing, Now, in a dog fighting term, you could have called the dog a cur. Am I right? Dog fighting, he's a cur. He ain't moving. There's a dog right there. He ain't doing shit. You see what I'm saying? They want to look at it that way instead of what it was. There's a video that I took and sent it to the guy because he would never believe that his dog would be standing there like that. He had never seen his dog do that before. I just happened to have it on my camera around it. And all I did is took a little video of it and then sent it to him, but didn't take it off my phone. It wasn't even on my phone, it was on my little recorder. But that was, they used a warrant, animal cruelty warrant to get in my shit. But then once they got in my shit, it all turned into a dog fighting charge, and there was no more animal cruelty. Animal cruelty, then they used to get the search warrant, it never did show back up. Now, one thing about animal cruelty through the whole case, Judge didn't even want to hear it. So if you didn't want to hear that, then we should have been challenging the warrant. It's just the thing about the warrant that messed everything up was the video was gone.
See, the video was gone, and then you didn't have the right lawyers.
Yeah, the lawyers wasn't helping because the lawyers was helping them get rid of the video. They knew the video was going to kill the case. But it was enough for the video it was such a big thing. I think the judge realized there was something about that video that was enough that I don't want to hear no more about no animal cruelty shit. You know, if I had a real good lawyer, we would have went after that warrant. The warrant was the flaw. The warrant was the flaw. Because they made my warrant an animal cruelty warrant. You know, search warrant. And like, there was animal cruelty going on in my yard. Dog fight wasn't even in there. No, they used a warrant to go in there and act like they're going to rescue my yard. And then once they get in there, now it's been turned into a dog fight. This is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Now, how was they able to get that warrant? I made one bad mistake. I talked to those people, thinking I had nothing to hide. Walked them through my yard. Biggest mistake I ever made. Wasn't doing no dogs no more on the farm. They didn't come past the yard. I always left them at the end of the driveway. They couldn't get in the farm because the farm was blocked in, and there was no way you getting in there unless you come to that gate. You got to hit that gate. And the gate is always locked, so they could never get in. And they was, like I said, you want to come see this yard? You know what you need to come. When you come where you ain't got to ask me. And that's how it was when I was on the farm. Didn't trust them then, but I'm thinking now I'm not on the farm. I ain't doing nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. No, it ain't all good. No, it ain't no good. I wouldn't have been in the trouble I was in if I had never answered that door. You see what I'm saying? Because they got in, me talking to them, me trying to show them the right thing. Then everybody had their shots. Everybody had rabies. Everybody was tagged up yet. 2 days later, I'm getting served a search warrant to come just up in my shit and take my shit. And then turn me into a dog fighter. First, I was an animal cruelty person to get the warrant. Now, all of a sudden, I'm a dog fighter with animal cruelty and went out the window. Now, I got 34 goddamn criminal charges. 37 of them. And they killed my dogs. And now I'm dealing with the same type of people today. I'm going to be continuous scratching. But yeah. Yeah. But, hey, man, I know I did some serious talking tonight along with Mike, and I just wanted to coast on through and got a little more inside of what he was talking about when there's a deeper nucleus to these dogs. And a lot of us be out there with the motivation and determination to get out there every day and take care of your yard. You know, but just remember, man, at one point and some point, always be prepared. Always think them people are going to come on your yard in the morning. Or when you leave. When you get done, you want to be able to look around your yard and make damn sure I got cameras, everything pointed. So even when I ain't home, if they just so happen to come here and knock on my door, I ain't home, and then you see them walking down in your backyard on your camera. Because if you see you got a note on your door about shit wrong at your house, that means you wasn't home and they walked down in your yard. They found some shit in your yard. Or they might walk down in your yard, take a whole bunch of pictures, come back with a damn search warrant, knowing they ain't nobody at home. They ain't gonna tell them you wasn't home. They gonna tell them they got anonymous calls from dogs was in distress. And being that nobody was there, they had to go check. Now they got a big ass case against your ass. But you had them cameras there. them cameras, and you ain't home, one thing for damn sure, it don't matter whether you're home or not, and regardless of what's in distress. You know what I'm saying? You had to have a reason and not somebody saying these dogs was in distress. Some type of evidence. Because anything you find out there in that backyard, you're supposed to be able to challenge that. Because that's still your private property. Whether you rent it or living there, it's yours. If you got a gate to your dogs, always make sure that gate is closed. Don't have to have a lock on it. I would advise to put a lock on it. But if you don't have a lock on it, at least have a camera there. Because they cannot open that gate. Whether they got a call, it was a dog in distress. You know, how do they know these dogs is behind a fence? Could be the neighbor next door. You know, they still don't have a right to open up that gate and go inside that yard. That's like opening up your door, walking into your house. You know, if you came here on a welfare check, I come back with criminal charges. You come up here with criminal charges. These are the things you got to protect yourself from, people. Everybody that's raising pit bulls, I mean, and anybody that had even these bullies just running around here being pretty aggressive, and a lot of them is running together in these backyards, is doing a lot of fighting. You know, and these people are starting to get a bad name with these bullies. You know, bullies are still pit bulls. Bullies shouldn't be able to run together. You know what I'm saying? If they had these moments where they clash, you know, for dominance. You know, and people were starting to talk shit about those incidences where they're experiencing these things with the bullies. You know, we don't do it with our own pit bulls. That's what they are, damn near. So why do you think that because they just bullies that y'all continue to let these dogs run together and get into these scuffles and little fights that they get into, and the people that hear them or see them are giving a bad outlook on them because they scaring these people to death. And when people talk, police, police, animal control, they all the same thing to me, but they look for reasons. You know, if not just to get your name. You know what I mean? Just to even want to just get your name. You might, you know, you can stop them there and they just want to get your name. Like any other police, they want to get your name and run it. That's the whole point. You know, stop all that shit by not answering no questions. You know, if you got some fucked up shit there, you know, you got overnight before they come back again.
Right.
Get it right. But if anything, you better put your phone on record. And have your own little body cam. Just protect yourself, make sure your shit is right, and always remember, man, they are not playing right, it ain't being fair.
That's right.
Don't lose your yard. You know what I'm saying? Acting like you don't understand that, because stomping on my feet and being mad about what they did doesn't change shit. My attitude about it doesn't change shit. I have to go back in there and fight. That's the only way it's gonna change. So y'all gotta excuse me today in my going hard outfit today, because I was definitely
Tied up.
Hey,
I want to give a big shout out to the Shark Tank. Damn, chat room was busy. I read all you guys, fellas. Y'all feel with me where I'm coming from. To all my newbies out there, to all the ones who you're new to this, look at a lot of the comments. Look at some of the things that you know that they're offering. They're trying to tell you the same thing what we on this camera trying to tell you. This shit is real. And these dogs aren't for everybody. And if you want a pit bull, you know, that's okay. But look at all the things that come with it. That's why I give this, you know, the Shark Tank big shots out, because, you know, there's a lot of experience out there, a lot of history, a lot of knowledge. You know, a lot of people done been through what we've been through, and they're willing to get in there and share their experience. And in a lot of things that we talk about, they're sharing their experience. Mm-hmm. And you have to be able to take advantage of those situations and see where that's going to help you become a better dog, man, being that you're new to what we're doing or what we've done. Or you're trying to be competitive in the right way. Look at all the information that I gave up tonight as far as how to do that, because it does start with a puppy. And I'm pretty sure you went over that. Everything that you've ever done with these dogs, you started when they was real, real young. Mm-hmm. If anybody familiar with this, go back and look at our shorts. You know, that little bitty puppy, I think Chaos was, how old was he?
11 weeks.
He was 11 weeks old when his training started.
It was actually 8 weeks old when
8 weeks. Started. 8 weeks when he started, but that
3 weeks later.
3 weeks later, that's what he was doing. That was, look how young that puppy was. Now you can imagine what he like now.
He's 4 years old.
He's 4 years old now. You can imagine what he is. He about that real life. Mm-hmm. So these are those things that we try to get y'all without trying to just be telling you, but just giving you the full entire story. All the little tricks along the way, all the little things that you need to do to be able to get this in the long run. Here's this little 11-week-old pup, and this is just the 4-year-old dog. Look how long that started. You can imagine what that dog can do now. But then that's the fruit of his work over those years. That shit took time, dedication, and effort. Motivated to do it, to get the results that he got in the end. The dog speaks for itself at this point in time. I mean, he really will. He ain't got to talk about Chaos. Chaos will talk, he can show you about what he can do. Because he about that, he's a very well good trained dog. So these are all the things that we try to help y'all with, not just with the Malinois and our training progress, but the same thing that worked for them, work for these damn pit bulls. If you run up a wall, you drag weights, all of it, everything and anything. First of all, you got to start with a purpose. And then you got to be able to work that dog to fit the purpose that you want that dog to work under, and be motivated and have the patience and the discipline to get in and do the work every day. Outside of that, this is Talk Shit Tuesday, and we made it through another day.
So I was late, y'all.
I had it.
I know. I was watching the show, though.
Again, big shout out to all my people out there in the back street. Big shout out to everybody out there in the Shark Tank. Y'all know if we gotta make it possible and believable, we will be back here Friday. Until then, thank you again for everybody showing up. And trust me, I'm finna get a thumbs up and everything right now. I'm finna do all that. I'm just giving my thanks right quick because I'm gonna be looking for them thanks back as I get ready to go over here and turn this music on, because y'all know what time it is. You know what? Y'all enjoyed the show and like all the information we're giving out to you today. I need you to get them thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Muscles, muscles, muscles. Now, we need some damn roses. Roses. We need
I ain't seeing my page.
Damn roses.
Why my page moving? Do I need to reboot the page? Is it moving over there with you, man?
Is it slow?
Is it slow?
Is the page?
Okay, I got a little action.
Big shout out to my man Derek Lockerron King. Appreciate the love, fam.
Okay, fellas, I said a little love. Come on now.
43-something people in here.
Come
it's
on,
supposed
man.
to look like there's 43-something people up in this chat room.
Come on now, y'all.
Come on, man. Show the love. I wouldn't give a damn if y'all do a one thumb and a one muscle or one rose. Show me the love.
Show the love.
That is the problem around here. We're not getting enough love.
What's up, man? See? Y'all can't be slacking on me over here now. What's up? What's up? What's going on out here? I see all that chat activity. What y'all talking about? I'm going to go home and look at it. I'm going to see what y'all was chatting about. Y'all can't give me no love. Yeah, I see somebody up there helping out. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. I like that. That's
47 people. Show the love, man.
Come on now. Y'all know I was talking some real shit. I told you I got some shit to show y'all. No. We can always go back in here and start diving into these pedigrees again and talking about some dog fighting shit. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes we got to get over that shit and settle that shit over here. It's good history talk, but sometimes we got to open up and give y'all some real now shit. We're like, twins ain't just stuck down in there in the back now. Twin ain't just messing around, being an old has-been. Twins messing with Malin Walls and he's still snooping around like Snoop Dogg. Just being Snoopy, But hey, you need to know these things, man, because the dog game has always been open to me because of the people that we know and we get to know. And the things that they tell me, I'm sharing with y'all to bring y'all up to date, and even along with my own experiences, you know what I'm saying? That maybe I'm hoping I can make some of you guys, get rid of that shit because you don't need the trouble. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because, it's a waste of money when you end up losing it anyway.
That's right.
Man, I appreciate them thumbs up. I appreciate them follow-up, fellas. For those who did it, I really appreciate that. Y'all, I'm getting a little bit of motivation messing with you Shark Tank guys.